Is this a prank?
I'm sorry, no, this is not a prank.
Alright, welcome back to Dark Static, a show where we discuss and chronicle everything found footage in analog horror media. I'm your host, Alex Schiffer, and with me always is Zach.
Hello, Alex. How's it going?
Oh, yeah, I never say your last name. You don't really, yeah,
No?
to the listeners, you don't have a you're just Zach, and you're with me always.
Oh, okay.
But I'm
Oh, okay.
specifically Alex Schiffer. And people know me.
Gotcha. And I'm just Zach.
You're just Zach, and you're always here. You don't exist outside of audio.
Yes, sir.
Neither of us do.
We're just static.
We're just dark. You're just a couple of dark statics. On this episode, we're talking about Milk and Cereal, written and directed by Curry Barker. I mentioned on the last episode we did fucking forever ago, this was going to be the next movie that we'd be doing. It was fresh in my mind at the time, because everything that was viral about it just came out, in the middle of recording our last episode. That's when it kind of blew up on YouTube, and we had the Bloody Disgusting article that came out about it that was like, oh, don't miss this. If you listen to the last episode, at the end, I was like, oh, there's this little film that's out. I think we're going to do that next, and it's this. Yeah, so we've been waiting a while to, tackle this one properly. Lots been going on in both our lives, I'll say, and, this show is kind of a hobby right now. So we're not on like a distinct schedule. Lots come out in the last year, and we'll kind of be playing catch up for a lot of the year, I'll say, because there is a lot of stuff that's come out found footage wise, and a lot of, shows that hopefully we'll be tackling pretty soon. And we're going to start with Milk and Cereal, which, kind of had its moment, and then I feel like it went away, which a lot of internet video does. And if you're wondering like what this is, what is Milk and Cereal, it is this little horror movie, only an hour long, that's on YouTube. You can watch it. You can go and watch it right now. And in fact, I implore you, please go watch it before you listen to this episode. It's very accessible to everyone, which is great. It's from these guys. They have a YouTube channel that's called That's a Bad Idea. If you watch YouTube at all, you'll see channels like this. They're this sketch comedy duo. A lot of their uploads are like very short little skits. It's nice, but then interspersed between these skits sometimes are short horror films. And Milk and Cereal has come out, and it is their first, I guess, big feature film. And this is the one that's gained a lot of traction, and it's a found footage movie. You'll even go to the thumbnail, and it's like it's a found footage Milk and Cereal, a found footage story. It's a normal YouTube video, kind of like you'd see if you were, perusing the internet, looking for an ARG, or like you're watching what's that, like the Mandela Cat. It's nothing like those. It's nothing like the Mandela Catalog or what Kyle Edward Ball was doing with his YouTube channel. This is much different. This is a much different vibe, because these guys, this is a duo, Curry Barker and Cooper Tomlinson. They are this sketch comedy duo, and that's what they do. But they also have these filmmaking chops, and it's interesting to see, because you think you think you're going to YouTube, and you talk about like, oh, these YouTubers made a film, and you're like, oh, it's probably the worst thing you've ever seen, and you're like, no, this one's good, and it turns out people like this. But I mean, I'd never heard of these guys before.
I have some passing familiarity with them.
You do?
Just because it's like the most passing, just in that their other stuff entered my various feeds as I was like perusing different social media platforms. So like I think The Chair, which is a horror short film
Mm-hmm.
that Curry also directed like a year ago, a little over a year ago. That was suggested to me. The algorithm just put that in front of me at some point, and I think I watched a bit of it, but didn't get all the way through. I didn't know who it was by or what any of the context that these guys were like sketch comedy creatives. But that thumbnail has popped up in my suggestion thing multiple times over like the last year. Their comedy sketches, like if you're on TikTok, they do, or at least in my For You page, does occasionally feed some of their stuff to me. There's one account. They should look into this, honestly. There's one account that is on TikTok that was just using their audio like blatantly from their comedy sketches and animating to it and not advertising that that's where the audio is coming
That
from.
it's from
And I
this
only,
group.
yeah. And I only realized that
Look at what
later
I
after
did.
I watched Milk and Cereal. I was like, oh, this is funny animation. And then I clicked on some of their sketches and recognized one of the sketches. And yeah, like I was like, oh, this guy like they're big enough that other people are just ripping off their work and posting it
I
elsewhere.
guess that's when you know you've made it, you know.
Yeah.
They do have they have like right now as we're recording this, they have 818,000 subscribers. They haven't broken that million threshold yet, but they definitely will. I mean, and it's funny you say that, like, you know, you get their stuff on TikTok, but like, you know, you go to their YouTube channel and most of their videos are like they're very bite-sized. Like when we say like comedy sketches, they're very short skits.
Like minute and a half, 2 minutes. Like a 3-minute one is a long one.
Yeah. And then their short films that are interspersed are like usually around, 20 minutes long. Then you get to Milk and Cereal, and Milk and Cereal is in a complete hour. It is a movie. And here's the thing that I find interesting, because at the end of the day, we're talking about, found footage horror films. And the way you usually find found footage media on YouTube is most of the time it's by accident. Or not really, but you either get like how you said, you get like it pops up in your algorithm and you just watch it without any context. Milk and Cereal was presented as like, this is a movie that these people made and it's found footage. So like there's no sense of like, oh, this could be something that actually happened. The movie is obviously presented like that because it's found footage. It's just kind of the nature of it. But it's not like, it's not this immersive experience.
No.
It says like Milk and Cereal found footage horror film in the title. They are presenting this as a real film, which I find, very interesting. And it's a good contrast to a lot of the found footage videos that you see on YouTube. It's nothing like a Marble Hornets or anything like that. It's this complete thing, and it is at its core, it is a film. And when you watch it, I would argue that it, and this is getting into like, our overall thoughts, but when I watched this, I was very surprised by how well structured, like the actual like film structure of this was. Internet video doesn't really have a chosen structure, but the world of film, I feel like does. And you can mess with it all sorts of ways. But I was very pleasantly surprised that this felt like a film and not just a YouTube video.
Yeah, I would agree. Most of what we've been talking about so far in the series has been, we've been going roughly chronologically.
Yeah, we started with like the hits, the foundations.
Yeah, like the important stuff that like kind of fleshes out the genre, establishes the rules, and we're skipping so far ahead in time. I think we're seeing the results of the past like several decades of found footage movies, which is just like, I think this movie is freer for it. Like, it's freer for.
Not just that it's actually free.
Oh, not just that it's literally free,
Yeah.
although that is part of it. Like,
Yeah.
it is better creatively because it doesn't have to. It's allowed to just be a very fun, clever, lean
Mm-hmm.
film because it's not pretending to be real.
Yeah, and like, but the movie, like when you watch the movie itself, it believes like it is, and there's a lot of clever like it has so much competence in itself.
Yeah.
And that you buy it completely. And here's the thing. This is a movie that was made for $800. And that's kind of, for a film budget, obviously absolutely fucking nothing. For a YouTube video,
Basically nothing.
Yeah, for a YouTube video, people make YouTube videos for fucking nothing all the time. The interesting about Milk and Cereal is that how it draws a line between like a film and a YouTube video. When you watch it like any other YouTube video, but you're reminded of like what the standard of visual media is, which doesn't exist in a lot of places on YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And I think when you watch the actual film, and I will go into a lot of this when we delve into the plot and, the themes and everything about the film, but some sort of metatextual element in this film, and it does say something about like the generation of people growing up with YouTube as like their main source of visual media. And I think it's, I'm placing a lot of importance on this, little video, like not little, it did blow up, but like, I don't want people to forget about like what this is. And I feel like there's more importance to this than we actually think right now.
Looking at the YouTube channel right now, it reminds me of like the dream of YouTube originally, which was like
yeah.
when I became interested in film in like high school and decided to go to film school. It was like there was so much of stuff like this. Like these little YouTube channels, well, they're not little, but relatively speaking, like
little in terms of like you watch like you weren't like a fan of YouTube at the time. You were like a fan, you liked movies, but like everything on YouTube at the time was little compared to like the broader entertainment world.
Yes, yeah, exactly. And ultimately all people were doing they were making things that they found fun to make.
Yeah.
The algorithm hadn't been as defined. It wasn't as homogenized. It was actually literally back then.
Yeah, corporations didn't really have a hand in YouTube just yet. I mean, it wasn't owned by Google. Like, when did Google start to own YouTube? I feel like that was sooner than we think when we talk about like golden age YouTube stuff.
I think it was towards the end of when we would have been in high school, somewhere around there, like 2012.
I think even before that.
Maybe early college. But
no, I think it was way before that.
Well, I think, oh, Jesus. Yeah, Google bought YouTube
2008.
In 2006.
Oh, fuck.
Wait, isn't that just basically when it came out?
It came out, it was like a year. Like YouTube had a year, I think, in like 2005. And then it's like, all right, YouTube, all right, Google, here we go.
My point was like when I was coming up as a filmmaker, this YouTube channel was the blueprint for success. Like it was, you make a bunch of things that are fun with your friends, you get better at it slowly over time, and you just like follow whatever your cinematic interests are. You make comedy sketches, you make little short films, and then eventually one of them goes viral, because back then the algorithm was actually designed to suggest things to you that not many people had watched, and that's how things
Yeah.
went viral, was that
I
they
thought
were
you meant like,
unpopular
yeah.
first. And it wasn't just only Logan Paul is allowed to have his videos seen. So like you had these filmmakers like Dan Trachtenberg who would
Oh
make
yeah.
a Portal short film, like fan
Oh my
film of
God, I
a
forgot that
video
was
game.
him.
And that's the start of his career as a filmmaker, and then he's directing a Cloverfield sequel and all this, and
Yeah.
it's like a Predator sequel.
We're
But
seeing
his
that.
career
I mean,
started
technically we're
with
seeing
a
that.
viral YouTube video.
Yeah, technically we are still seeing that too. Like that Kane, we will talk about Kane Pixels in this podcast. You know, his whole like backrooms thing. I mean, he's that dude is like a child, and he got picked up. He's doing an A24 movie, you know, because they just found the talent, you know, in him, and you know, his stuff went viral, and it's like, all right, here you go, here's a go at it, you know.
I'm interested in hearing more about that later because I don't know what that is.
Oh, you never okay.
But
I get to
it's
show.
good
I
that
get to
like
show
that
Zach
can
Kane
still.
Pixels.
But yeah, I just remember back then it was like, or the Daniels are a great example of
Oh
that,
yeah,
where it's
of
like,
course.
you know, they were all short films, and then
The music videos,
you know, then music videos, and then
then Best
now
Picture.
they have one Best Picture
Yeah.
with Everything Everywhere All at Once, and I feel like that happens less and less, but it's cool to see that there's an example of it right here with like it looks like guys just making
Yeah, guys
fun
that
and developing their skills further, and
guys that seem like they, you know, through, you know, what we see, you know, what we've seen them do, like have a passion for this and have, most importantly, like a knack for this.
yeah.
Because, you know, I feel like, you know, there are artists on YouTube I highly respect. And we'll get into this when we talk about because I think the actual movie is like saying something about this, but like I feel like because of how accessible YouTube is and how anyone can just upload whatever they want, YouTube in particular attracts a certain kind of person, a certain kind of person that really can't make it anywhere else. Sometimes that is used for good, and sometimes it is evil. And I think that movie, I think Milk and Cereal might have something to say about that, but we'll get into it with Milk and Cereal. Zach, I want your overall thoughts on this movie. What did you think about it just overall?
Overall, I thought it was just like it was just like a really, really fun, well-made little horror movie. Like it's not something that I think is necessarily going to change my life in any way. I mean, that's such a
no.
Why would I set that up that way?
Yeah. That can't be the
bar
metric of everything that you see, especially when you're talking about found footage horror media.
Right. No. I mean, it's like what you said. I echo that. Like it's like so competently made.
Like to a shocking
I was gonna
degree.
say
Like
for
I
the
cannot believe that like these guys are this talented.
Yeah, it's so like from a story perspective, like it's I use the word lean just to say like there's no fat on it. Like it's just
No, not at all.
entertaining all the way through.
I mean, there better
It
not be.
has
It's an hour
layers
long.
to it. Right, right. I mean, there could have been some excess. It could have been longer than an hour if I'm sure the original script or whatever has some extra moments and scenes that just got exercised from it. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's just a fun ass movie. Like it's creepy. It's it's not a movie that gave me a sense of genuine terror. It's a more
Mm-hmm.
fun horror movie than that, I think, which is exceedingly rare, I think, in the age of like A24 movies. And I think Blumhouse is kind of the only one. They're kind of the only ones still like successfully doing this consistently. But
Neon.
it's dark, but it's not neon. Yeah, I guess neon. Like
Spectre Vision. All right, so there are a couple.
what?
Spectre Vision. Elijah Wood's company.
Oh, yeah. So there's like two.
There's a couple. Some good ones out there.
Well, I wouldn't say a girl walks home alone at night. Okay, I guess they have Mandy and
Oh yeah,
well, okay, I'm looking at this list of movies that
that's a
they have
pretty
made, and
big.
that's not what I meant.
Okay, okay.
I'm seeing Greasy Strangler all around his face.
They did that. They did that Toxic Avenger remake that's coming out soon. That
Ooh, that
Macon
sounds fun.
Blair made.
Oh fuck yeah, that's gonna rule. No, I like this movie a lot. It's like, I'm glad that it's a hit. I'm not surprised that it's a hit because it's so accessible. It's so easy to watch. It's like the performance. I mean, the star performance is obviously like really
It's
good
it's
and
so
captivating.
yeah. I feel like we found someone like when you watch this movie.
Yeah, I think I wouldn't be surprised if like a few years from now you would see Curry Barker in like, I don't know, whatever the next Jordan Peele movie is, or
That would be
you
yeah, that would
know,
be
like
perfect. I mean, this
I wouldn't be
guy
surprised.
yeah, I mean this guy is an all-time like face.
It,
Like I think
to
he
a point
realized
where like I thought I recognized him when the movie started and I looked him up on IMDb, and I haven't seen like a single.
no.
I
You've
hadn't
just
actually
seen him
seen a
in
single
your
thing with him in it.
you just seen him in your dreams. That's where you recognize him
Yeah,
from.
it's I had a nightmare.
He's the guy in that poster
Um,
that's like, "Have you ever dreamed of this man?" And it's his face, smile in that like smiling.
yeah,
Oh my god, what a
uh,
smile! What a smile!
yeah. He's got a real
I think he
I'm
realized
certain.
that he looks like that, so they made
Well,
this
that's
movie.
I actually I did
Not to be
I did
mean, but he does look
I
like
I,
that.
I read I did read a bit of an interview where he was talking about like how how he incepted the idea, and it was like he was doing a few different readings, or he was trying to build up his reel a bit, and so he like basically knocked out a few different kinds of scenes, like different genre, different types of performances. And one of them was just like, oh, it'd be fun to do kind of a serial killer thing. I think I can do kind of a serial killery thing.
Oh, you think?
And then he read it, he watched it back and he was like, I could probably do an hour of this. like, like, yeah, I probably could do a serial killery thing.
Oh yeah, and that's what we got. That is pretty much what we got. With
Yeah.
more, there's more than that. This isn't spoilers, by the way. This is this is a serial killer movie.
Yeah, it's kind of a serial killery thing.
Yeah, and yeah, it's not revealed that that's what it is. When you watch it, it kind of just unravels as it goes along, and because of its length, because of its runtime, those things unravel a lot quicker than most movies, but it's still immensely satisfying. I guess my whole take on Milk and Cereal, and I've said this a little bit already. I do think you have a movie like this come along, and it's so refreshing, and that opinion kind of grew on me over time, because I watched this film, and after I watched it, I was like, that was really tight, just concise, tight filmmaking, and
Hard to do.
it's really really hard to do, because creative people, I feel like, tend to overwrite, overcreate a lot, and I like that, like, movies are made, art is made that is like, it doesn't have to be crystal clear, but this is a movie that is like crystal clear in what it does. It's airtight. You don't see a lot of movies like that nowadays, especially in horror. Overall, I would rate Milk and Cereal up there with some of the best horror movies that came out last year. I really would. And I think that's what they were getting at too in that Bloody Disgusting article, that kind of, made the film blow up. Was like, no, this isn't just a YouTube video. This deserves to be, treated as a film, as a real film. And after watching it, like, you can't imagine that it's anything less than that. there is an art to the YouTube video, but this kind of doesn't follow that. This follows the structure and staging of a found footage horror movie that you would go and see in theaters. But it's not a movie that I feel like would, every movie I think goes over well in theaters. That's just me. Milk and Cereal to me.
I don't know about that. I just disagree with that. I guess what I'm saying is this movie takes Longlegs by the neck and throws it out of.
Wait, what did you think I was talking about?
This movie. I'm gonna say something. You know what? Controversial 2024 horror movie take. Curry Barker's crazy guy performance is better than Nicolas Cage's.
I would agree. I think I would agree. Well, that's what I'm talking about with like over exaggerated, like has an inkling of like something going on, but like does too much. But that I don't know what you thought I was saying, because when you stumble across Milk and Cereal, it's a YouTube video, and you watch it as a YouTube video, meaning it's not a movie that would play in a theater, but like you watch it and it has the quality of a movie. And I feel like you can't say that about a lot of, videos that get made, because this, at the end of the day, like Milk and Cereal is a movie made specifically for YouTube. You're not watching it you're most likely watching it alone. You're not watching it with an audience. It really adds something when the movie can work on another level that isn't supported by that. I was really shocked by how good this was. And I think most of that has to do with the performances too, because you think like YouTube movie and you're like, oh, well, the acting definitely is like the weakest part and it's probably subpar. And it's like, no, these guys have it like across the board, I think, and there's like, and the cast isn't huge. There's like, a circle of people. There's even a scene at a party and it doesn't really even feel like a part. It just feels like a kickback with a few friends. There isn't a lot of people in this movie in general, but that makes it like a very pointed performance for everyone, especially the main two leads and another performance we'll be talking about too. And we'll get to it when we talk about, the rest of the movie. But I think these are great horror performances, especially Curry Barker. I mean, Jesus Christ. Cooper Tomlinson also did a great job. He has this like, after a certain point in the movie, he kind of does this switch, and it's extremely effective. It's so jarring. He acts a certain way throughout, the first half of the movie. The second half, he is completely different, and it is so believable. And it was really shocking. I found certain parts of this movie, especially when it gets particularly violent, to be quite morbid, like impressively so. Morbid in like a South Korean horror, they do a certain kind of morbidity. I feel like, especially in like
talking like I Saw the Devil and like
Kim Ji-woon.
Yeah,
especially like you would see in like a Kim Ji-woon film, obviously Park Chan-wook has that. I feel like not Lady Vengeance, Sympathy for Mr. Vengeance is particularly morbid film, and I felt a similar way while watching. It's like insane to say because those are some of the best movies ever in my opinion, and it's crazy to say that. I felt like I felt similarly to certain scenes in this movie because I think it's just how like offset they are. Like they catch you so off guard. Like you think you're watching one movie, then you're watching another movie, and each one of those movies is good. Each one of those movies is like very effective, even when everything is, when nothing is real and nothing is real. But yeah, I like it's a movie like when I'm in the act of watching it, I love it, I enjoy it, and the act of like talking about it right now afterward makes me realize more and more, just like first off, like the respect I have for Curry Barker and Cooper Tomlinson as Curry Barker as the writer director. I feel like as the creative, head of this film, I have like immense respect for. I feel like set a new bar for like what YouTube horror media can turn into. But let's get in the movie because I have so much else to say about it. And I want to do it, when we're actually talking about what happens in the movie. If you don't know what the movie's about, if you've ever watched videos of pranksters, I think this used to be a bigger thing than it is now. Correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't watch a lot of Zoomer or YouTube. And there might be more prank channels than I think there are. But I remember it being a bigger thing. I remember one guy was huge. His name was Sam Pepper. You remember this guy? I probably sound really old talking about him, but like, I remember like when we were in college and like there was all this drama about like how he was doing bad stuff, and he was this like renowned prankster on YouTube. The main like duo here, played by Curry Barker and Cooper Tomlinson, they're Milk and Seven. Curry Barker is Milk, Cooper Tomlinson is Seven, and then there's a whole bunch of other characters that we'll talk about. Some of them are really important, and again, small cast, but everyone stands out, I feel. The main logline from Letterboxd goes like this: a surprise birthday prank takes a turn for the worse when a popular social media duo must face the reality of the terrifying aftermath. So let's get into this movie proper, Milk and Cereal. It kind of opens up like any old YouTube video. We see Seven, played by Cooper Tomlinson. He is recording a video wishing him a happy birthday before his big prank. And so they're the duo. They're the duo in real life, when they make YouTube videos, and they're the duo in this film. They're sort of like fictional versions of themselves, but not really. I don't really feel confident saying that, but
yeah, I don't have enough of a sense of who they are in real life, but I imagine they're not annoying prank bros.
Or at least in like the sense of their like YouTube presence, not like how they are in real life. I'm sure they're very different people in real life, but they're kind of, fictional versions of their YouTube selves. Like if this were to play after, one of their sketches, you're like, oh, this is one of their videos, maybe.
Right.
But then it's a whole different thing. So they're this prankster duo. They pull pranks on one another. Milk pulls a prank on Seven. Seven pulls a prank on Milk. Seven kind of has this, you get the sense of this immediately. Seven has this YouTuber persona to him. This kind of like, what is going on? Like that kind of, you know what I'm talking about? Like, what is going on, guys? It's, that kind of.
Yeah. What's up, guys?
Yeah, exactly. That kind of.
Yeah, he plays to a script that is based on how every other YouTuber acts. Yeah, and it makes sense. Like you can watch the beginning of this movie and you're like, this is a YouTube video, although it has this droning, this underscore to it that kind of separates it. I have a couple mixed feelings about this score. I feel like it's used effectively in some places, and sometimes I just wish the scene was silent. But we'll get into what those scenes are. But after this, we cut to outside. Seven is introducing the audience to this guy named Jason, who is a friend from his acting class. And they're setting up, what he's advertising to his audience, basically, is the most insane prank that they've ever pulled. So Seven and a few more friends, including another reoccurring character that will be coming up in the movie named Naomi. And Naomi is played by Adley Alvarado. She's a recurring character. She actually has she's not in the movie. She doesn't have like a lot of lines, but like she does discover something important at a certain point.
Yeah, and they're testing this like, I forgot what they call it specifically. It's this fake blood spurting device that they use in Hollywood movies.
Squibs.
The squibs. Yeah, that's what they
Just
call it a
actually,
squib.
that's the exact bit in the movie. Is Seven calls it the wrong thing.
Right. Yeah.
Has to be reminded. So yeah, whatever.
So they're testing that out, and you don't really know like what they're planning yet. It kind of like I keep saying, this movie is a movie that unravels. It doesn't give you everything, all at once. So we cut to them driving, and Seven mentions a girl named Jessica, a girl that Milk used to see but doesn't anymore. That's important. Comes up later. Remember that. They come across a white van, and Seven remarks that he found this guy on the black market. This exchange is pretty funny. That's something I haven't spoken about, actually, or neither of us have really mentioned while talking about this movie. Did you find this movie like funny in some places?
Oh yeah,
this movie's funny. Like they are, like of course they're a comedy duo, but like I don't know, you hear YouTube comedy duo and like they're probably the most annoying people ever. But these guys are genuinely funny, and this movie has spurts of very funny moments. So you have this scene here where they're meeting this like really shady guy in a white van, and there is some like hoops you have to go through. Like why, like Seven is like a relatively normal guy that just like happened to like, oh yeah, he went on the black market. It's, he just used it like Craigslist or whatever. like he doesn't even know where he found him from. It's just like, it's, stumble across him. And he's kind of nonchalant about it. And it's funny. The man in the van comes out to greet the crew. This guy's so funny. His face is blurred and his voice is modulated. This is the only time I think when they use a modulator effect, but the face blurring comes back a lot in very specific moments. And I feel like you'll see the movie, it executes some of its best horror moments by blurring someone's face. It does that to two characters specifically that I feel like is done really well. But this man is not frightening at all. He looks he's so silly. He's wearing this cowboy hat and he's smoking a cigar. He's a comic book character. It's so
He
fun.
looks like that Coyote YouTuber guy who lets himself get messed up by different animals. I forget his name. Coyote Peterson or something like that.
Coyote Peterson.
There's a pretty big YouTuber has that same get up, and his whole thing is he just like lets himself get, like stung by a mantis shrimp or something stupid like that. Yeah.
That's crazy. You shouldn't be doing that. No one should.
Boy, Cayman. Yeah, no one should.
Dude, he sounds like that, of course.
Designed to kill you, these animals. Don't do it.
Designed by the great creator to. This guy doesn't like that they're filming him. There's a lot of sequences in this movie where they don't like, where other characters don't like that they're filming each other. Of course, big trope in found footage horror movies where people don't understand why people are recording. In this movie, it's done really well, I feel. I've said this a lot, but I think we're done with like, oh, no one would keep recording. And it's like, have you seen what people record in real life? They absolutely would.
Yeah.
People record fucking everything. But yeah, so like that whole trope has gone away. And it's like, it makes sense for these guys in this movie. Cause like, yeah, they're like content hounds. Like everything can be part of a video. Everything can be part of the upload. So they film a lot of this guy shoves the camera away. Even after shoving the camera away, Seven's like, no, just keep going. So they get but they get in the van and they completely disregard the modulator. You can hear the man's real voice now. He's showing us a gun and pretends to shoot himself in the head with it to prove that these are like the best blanks that you've ever seen. Which this guy's so.
This is gonna be the most nothing that's ever gonna happen. You won't believe how.
You don't believe
nothing
how. Yeah.
These things are gonna be.
This guy also has this guy reminds me of the gun salesman in Taxi Driver, where he's like, "Want a Cadillac?
Yes.
Get you a Cadillac." Yeah, like he's
That's
kind of
a
like
good
that
one,
vibe. He's not as fast. He's not like a fast talker like him. He kind of has like the same
Yeah.
vocal cadence, but like this guy is very passionate about illegal things.
Yeah,
Is what I'm trying to get at. Very funny character. For this prank, they're using a gun and blanks and blood. You can sort of put together like what they're trying to do. Seven speaks to the camera again. We get the title card, Milk and Cereal. And then we're introduced finally to Milk. He's setting up his own apartment for his own birthday while Seven is filming. And Milk says it's weird that he's decorating for his own birthday. I feel like in context with the rest of the film and what we know of who Milk is, this introduction to Milk, I feel like, is very important. I love that like the film immediately like sets him up as like having an issue and not being treated like, you know, like any normal friend should. Like, hey, like friends, you know, normal people like set up, you know, decorations for, you know, their own birthdays. And I feel like you could read this as like him being like sort of isolated, you know, this content driven Zoomer who, you know, wants to be, you know, wants what he sees normal people having, like, oh yeah, having a birthday, you know, having a party and everything. You know, the effects of an unstable mind whose only goal is to gain social standing from, you know, what they make. It reminds me of you've seen Nightcrawler, right?
Yes.
You remember Nightcrawler, the scenes of him just like watering plants because like it's what he thinks normal people do.
Yeah. Yes.
I kind of made like a connection there when I saw this. And there are other instances of this movie of Milk trying to do normal things that he thinks people just do. But he also like just doesn't understand some things, and we'll get into all that because there's some very specific moments that I want to point out.
The first time I saw it, I think I read it as like, it's because they were all out. They had to exclude him from the prank.
Yeah.
So then they had to go do their own thing, which left him alone to
decorate for his
set
party.
up.
Yeah.
Well, also the fact that he was like, I think it's both. I think you're right. I think it is also that, because that line,
I think that's hidden
hearing
underneath.
it after
you know?
knowing everything that's going to happen. Yeah.
I think that's hidden underneath there in some way.
I mean, I don't know if it's on purpose or if it's just the acting, but like even some of the dancing he does and some of the like quick cuts, there's like,
oh yeah,
very much feels like person pretending like this is what we do when we're having fun, right? Like it's just very performative.
After this, we cut to text on the screen indicates that this is the night before the party, and we cut to later on in that day. Two girls enter. One is Naomi, who we briefly met before. She's kind of part of their prank crew. Like she has, like, there's another guy I'd say that's important that's named Link that comes up in a bit, and I think him and Naomi are kind of a duo, but they're all like a group. I would say they're all friends, but they're all also like fellow content creators, I guess. And she brought her date along, and her name's Lara. And Seven is with them, and Seven's like, "Hey, I'm Seven." He says it in like a really like funny way here. We learn why Milk is called Milk in a bit. Like that's not his real name in the movie, and Seven is not his real name in the movie.
No, it's Marshall, I think is his name.
Marshall is Milk.
Somebody says it.
Yeah, when someone, and later on in this film, like someone's yelling at him, and he's like, and they yell Marshall, like. They're being real.
Right, yeah, it's like, okay, we're not.
Yeah, and we learn, and it's funny because like, the scene right after this, like Naomi's introducing Lara to Milk, and Lara knows Milk as Marshall. She's like, "Oh hi, like Marshall," but he's like, "No, he's called Milk," and they ask him like, "Why is he called Milk?" And he's like, "Well, he just likes drinking milk. He like specifically just whole milk, and that's why he's named Milk." Milk is also a defining trait of a certain archetype that makes more sense when we get to the, mid-act to like revelation, I would say, in this film.
I guess it's also, I always just thought of it as like it's kind of like an infantile thing to drink, and so that's why people view it as kind of weird because it's like there's a certain point
Yes.
where you can
Yeah.
get away with putting it in your cereal and stuff,
Of
but
course, of course.
you're not
Yes,
really
yeah, milk goes
supposed
in
to
cereal. That's
drink
like
milk.
everything. Yeah. No, you're not supposed to drink milk at all. Like it's not you're not supposed to consume
no
it like a
benefit to
glass,
it.
you know.
Yeah, so the fact that it's like suggesting he's developmentally kind of behind in some way or something like that.
Yeah, and that comes up in a scene just a bit. I like the idea that he's like, yeah, developmentally behind, also kind of like a kid, because that connects. I think that dovetails into a lot of different ideas going on in the movie and what it's saying about, you know,
Yeah.
a certain type of person. Knowing what we know, this is a very interesting like back and forth. Like that's quick, but tells us a lot in retrospect.
Yeah.
But, you know, more people show up at the party. There's kind of this montage of party antics, dancing, drinking, you know, some games. It goes back to what you were saying about, like, he's trying to fit in. Like, the scenes of
right.
Milk dancing is like, this is how human dance. And we cut to Milk, and they're all sitting on the couch, and it seems like it's, like, mid-conversation. I love that they do these. There are a lot of this in this movie. I didn't talk about this when I'm talking about my overall thoughts. I think the editing is really good. It's really pointed because oftentimes we see scenes in mid-action, like in the middle of people talking. Found footage movies do this sometimes, but like I feel like it's more highlighted here because these guys are in mid-conversation, and they're all playing. Never Have I Ever. And one of the guys asks if anyone's ever killed an animal. And to which Milk answers yes. Laura also answers yes. Like, oh, yeah, I accidentally killed a rabbit. You know, it was horrible. You know, happens sometimes. You know, sometimes you get roadkill. But Milk is just like, yeah, I killed this cat once. And everyone's like, oh, my God. And then when he's like pressed on it, there's like a moment of silence. And he tries to like get onto something else, but someone presses him on it like, wait, what happened with the cat? And his answer is, it's just not something you're supposed to do.
Yeah. Like he doesn't elaborate on like with a car, you run over it. Like what? He never says how he killed it.
No, he's just like, yeah,
Like-
you're not supposed to do that, right?
Yeah.
And he says it kind of like under his breath too. Like, God, yeah, the performance he gives is amazing. This kind of gets undercut. This is why I think this movie has a lot more going on. Is like really creative because this moment's there, but it's not like it is presented as like offbeat comedy as it is right now.
Right. Yeah.
It's like, oh, I killed the cat. Like, why? Like, I don't know. You know, it is kind of funny, and is presented as like a bit. You know, God, yeah, everything starts to make more sense, and especially when we get to what happens at the end of this party, and we think that the movie is going to be, you know, it's going to be a certain kind of movie. After this, there's a knock at the door. This is like it's not the first time music comes in, but there is this like underscore here, and it starts to like underline the scene, and the camera actually notes that it's, you know, sometimes the camera will note the time. Usually when you see the time, that indicates like something happens here that has a effect on everything else that happens in the film. So Seven opens the door, and Jason from before walks in. He's his actor friend. You know, he daps him up. He introduces him to Milk. He gives him a fake name. He introduces him to Milk as Devin, and Milk is obviously like very annoyed. And he kind of just stares down Seven. If someone invited someone random to your birthday party, you'd probably be,
oh yeah.
You would be annoyed too. So like, this is probably, this makes us forget like what just happened with the cat, and it's like, oh yeah, of course you would be annoyed. So it gives us, you know, a new link to something like this. Just like sweeps that moment under the rug more, because all right, now we're getting back to, you know, the setup for the prank that we know is coming. And we immediately after this cut to Milk sitting in his bed arguing with Seven. there's a few scenes in particular, and this goes back to what you were saying about the kind of like infantilism of Milk here. Is that how you would describe it? Because he's seen here sitting in the bed. He's depicted kind of like a child not getting what he wants. He's sitting on the bed and Seven's like standing over him, and we don't even see Seven's head is cut off, and he kind of looks like a parent, from like an old TV show where it's like about the kids and they don't show the parents. Like that's kind of what this is. That's kind of what this feels like.
I definitely read that in Milk's performance of like, I mean, there's a bunch of points in the movie where he kind of like, he is entrenched in his own logic and it's inherently based off of infantile thoughts. And then there's also just things that he's pieced together that he thinks he should think based on the way that people are.
Yeah.
And so it's just this kind of like frayed perspective that he has that is based out of pure id and like, yeah, kind of like infantile desire, like not getting his way and like wanting his way.
Exactly.
The things he wants are.
Yeah, and there's
realistic.
there's like certain scenes too where he throws fits later.
Yeah.
It all comes together pretty soon. While they're arguing, a bunch of commotion can be heard downstairs. People are screaming and they rush downstairs. The cameras are shaking. Seven's filming with his camera. He knows what's coming. He knows like where to shoot. And the other guy with there's another guy with the camera that's like getting Milk's reaction shot basically. So Jason shoots Naomi, with the fake gun, the blank, and the blood starts, spurting from her. Milk is like, he seems genuinely shocked here. And the prank, for a prank like this, it has to quickly reveal itself. So it does. And everyone just starts singing happy birthday. You just got pranked. Notable thing about this scene is there's still this like non-diegetic music playing in the background. Even when the prank is revealed, there's still like an underscore to it. So it's like, no, this, there's still something coming. So the party continues and Seven is like congratulating everyone on the prank, and Milk is being filmed hiding away. Throughout the film, there are things that are shot where things happen in between them, which we'll get to later. And this is one of those scenes too, where it's like something happened after, like before this, and he's filmed, and Milk is pretending to be like kind of like bashful, and it's like, oh wow, you got me. Oh well, yeah, good job. This is kind of like a normal. It seems like this is kind of a normal thing for them. Even though like I made you think that someone shot your friend in our apartment.
Yeah, funny joke.
Yeah, good joke. It's funny because like there is like awful things that happen in this movie, and like the tensions are insane. And some of the characters will still be like, this better not be a prank. Like,
yeah.
Like they'll be in the middle of it and like, I swear if this is a prank. Like at the most dire situation.
They know that the others are capable of doing something that fucked up.
Exactly.
Like they don't have filters.
No. I feel like that makes a lot of the events in this movie way more, you buy them, a lot more than you would, in any other movie. After this happens, another knock at the door is heard. No one else is supposed to be showing up, so everyone's like, what the fuck? Seven's worried that, maybe it's the landlord trying to give him a noise complaint or something like that. I can't imagine a party with this many people is rowdy. It's kind of like a low-key kickback and less of a party. Honestly, like, this is the kind of party I like, or I prefer nowadays. Like, yeah, a couple of my friends just like coming over, and there's music.
Yeah, no, that's exactly the best.
Exactly.
I mean, the gunshot probably was really loud.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
And sounded like a gunshot.
Yeah, that was a little much, huh?
That was kind of a lot.
Yeah.
I was going to like a black market.
Yeah, I wonder if like. I wonder if like if I heard a shot like that in my apartment building, everyone would probably be able to hear it. Although my walls are concrete. I don't know if I'll be. Maybe.
Maybe. No one would have to know.
I'm getting like a Homer Simpson thought bubble right now in my head of like a scenario.
I could be murdered in here.
My favorite
Find
version.
me.
My favorite version of that. He's like, "What if I robbed the Quickie Mart?" He's like spinning a gun in his hand, and Apu is like, "Wait, don't shoot me! Don't shoot me!" And Homer's like, "What? I'm not gonna shoot." And then he's like, "Wait, what if I robbed the Quickie Mart?" And there's a thought bubble in his head, and it's him spinning a gun around his finger, and he's like dressed as, he's dressed to the nines and wearing a sash that says Senator, and Marge is dancing next to him. It's so fucking funny. All right, I'll do it. I'll rob the watch that. Just watch that clip. Or watch that whole episode. Zach, watch The Simpsons.
I know, man.
It's like all I reference. Like,
Freaking Disney Plus has just got it locked behind a vault.
well, you know what? It's worth all of The Simpsons is worth however much money that is. I don't even remember.
Thousands, probably.
Among the thousands. Every penny is worth it for every Simpsons. So Milk's even like, nah, this is another prank. Like, even like hearing the knock on the door, he's like, no, this is another prank. But Seven assures him that it is not. And they answer the door, and at the door is this very unkempt looking man. You see his face for like a split second, but it's quickly blurred. This scene is awesome. His voice is he speaks in like this very tonal, coarse voice. He sounds a little bit like John Carpenter, a bit. He has like a kind of a gravel to his voice like this.
Box next door, and you're being so loud.
Yeah.
I'm trying to kill in Warzone. Get me up.
But this sequence is. I feel like this scene's amazing. This is where the movie like really gets going for you, because you're thinking like, oh, this is what the movie is. It's about this creepy guy. And when you read like the plot synopsis for this film, and it's like, yeah, their prank leads to something bad, and it's like, this is probably the bad thing that it leads to, and it's like, wow, there's so much going on. Like, in a vacuum, this scene is very unsettling, because it's like, what if this very unkempt, kind of scary looking guy just like walked around your apartment? Like, how would you feel?
Yeah, no, I'd be immediately unnerved.
Exactly. It is an unnerving scene. Like, it's very well done. They apologize.
Well, especially that moment, probably one of those moments you mentioned where he's like blurred out at the door.
Yeah, it's so much better that his face is blurred for this like little section. I love that as like
the way he's holding himself, he looks like a zombie. He looks monstrous.
He does. Now this guy, but this is a great performance. He's played by this guy named Jonathan Cripple. He is a very good actor, and he's great in this movie. And yeah, this scene, he does so well playing this like unnerving guy, like just entering someone's apartment when they don't want him to. And yeah, the face blurring. And, as I say a lot on this podcast, it's all about, great horror is all about what you don't see and what the filmmaker, what the artist can kind of inspire in your head. So when you see this guy walking in with a blurred face, I feel like it has an extra layer of like creepiness to it for like very obvious reasons. I can't think of another found footage horror movie right now that does this similar type of scare, but I feel like it should have happened a lot.
Yeah, I mean, nothing comes to mind right now. I'm just thinking how funny it is that not to take things off the rails, but I started going down this path of thinking, oh yeah, he is a good actor, like you said. And I was like, it's funny because I read he is like most of the budget of the movie was just
Paying him?
most of the $800 was just paying him, because he's like the only guy who's not like part of the crew or like a friend. Like he's an actor that I think they're more familiar with. They're only familiar with because they paid him, just like how you typically would pay an actor to be in a movie. But
Yeah,
everybody else
there
is
is
like, part of the troupe.
part of their trip. Yeah,
Um,
he does have like this. His performance, like, it is separated from like how everyone else acts. Like
which probably adds to the performance because he's like also probably the guy that he's the guy on the set they know the least
yeah.
of the actors.
Oh my
right?
god, yeah.
And
Like imagine that this was like the first time they saw him.
yeah, which is also funny knowing where the movie goes. It's like, let's also what happens in
In the movie. This movie's smart. Like it's very clever. So yeah, they apologize profusely, but he kind of just like barges in. Like he just like zooms past Milk and Seven here. And he walks around just like staring people down. And then as he's leaving, he barks at Milk and then smacks the door against the wall and leaves.
Yeah.
I want to enter a room like this, like just like enter, like stare. I feel like I've done this before. Like like when you walk into a bar, you just like a bar you don't like, and just like look at everyone like, ugh.
My kids are in hysterics.
You just kick the door and leave.
They don't know what's going on.
Yeah, so Milk thinks that this is still like part of the prank, but everyone else is like genuinely freaked out. Milk is just not convinced at all. But we move on pretty much with the night. Seven is filming Lara and Naomi. People are leaving. Lara and Naomi are hugging each other, and Milk is like, the camera kind of pans to Milk looking at Naomi and Lara hugging each other, and it's just like they're like he's an alien. Like, what are these people doing?
Yeah. We also already much earlier went past a quick moment where Laura goes to Seven, their jacket off, and is like, "Where can I put this? Can someone take this for me?"
Yes, so there's a couple moments.
Means nothing the first time you watch it. But.
No, there are moments in this film where there are short inserts where someone will say something and you're like, all right, why did they add that? Like, you're not thinking like why. You just think you're watching a movie, but like every little thing like comes back in some way. Like there's something like, yeah, there's the jacket here. Later on, there's Seven's wallet. So there's stuff like that in the movie that's just like rewarding on rewatch. And you're like, oh yeah, and like parts of this movie, the way it unfolds and starts to click with you is kind of the magic trick that this movie pulls, and it's very, as I keep saying, it's very clever, and it seems so simple too, but it's rewarding.
Yeah,
you know. After most people leave, the rest of the crew take this late night trip to 7-Eleven. Everyone's kind of recounting everything that happened that night and how the prank was set up and everything. This guy with the camera, it's not Seven, it's other guy, Link, who's like a tertiary video maker and kind of related to their crew. He's telling Milk about how they set up the prank and everything. I love this little scene here because it is the quintessential like after party going out and getting a late night snack depiction that I definitely have nostalgia for. Like recent nostalgia. Like I don't know, like if you've listened to this show, I've put a ton of value in very small things. Like I keep saying about like, oh, I love when found footage films like depict car rides. Because there's something about a camera like filming the road in front of them. Like there's something about that like gets to me. And when I see, this night, this party, and then like, oh yeah, everyone late at night going out to 7-Eleven to get like late night snacks. That brings me back to like college, or it brings me, back to like recent nights I've had out with my friends and like, oh yeah, and we're going to go out to the bodega and get like a sandwich.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
I like when found footage films depict like real things people do.
Little human moments. Yeah.
Yeah. In a movie that has very little humanity in it. Like even like they're even like depict like when they go to 7-Eleven, there's like these tiny inserts of like them just goofing around. And like they don't need to be there, but they're there. Like they don't add anything to the like story, you know, the plot or anything, but like they're there because that's what you would do.
I mean, you know what this is? You know what this walk is that they're doing?
Mm-hmm.
This is when we lived in Wrigleyville in Chicago, and we had a roommate who would. This was the walk to the local grocery store. Literally, like this structure of the
Costco.
alleyway to go get some like chocolate milk, some Oberweis chocolate milk.
Oh,
And
dude.
oh my God, I might be milk.
Oberweis.
I was milk.
You were milk. No, but it was chocolate milk. That's more. Chocolate milk is dessert.
Yeah.
especially
Yeah.
fucking Oberweis. Like that shit was like that shit was a chocolate shake you were drinking out of a jug.
Yeah, it was in like glass. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, it was in glass.
Glass made it taste better. Oh.
The glass did make it taste better. That was
Well, now,
so
yeah,
important.
we know now the glass did literally make it taste better.
Yeah,
I
that's
was
not a
not
joke.
consuming as many microplastics.
Oh yeah.
Man, I can't believe I was the milk guy.
You were the milk guy.
Yeah.
You were yeah. Yeah, you were the milk guy. It's all coming back to me. Anyway.
That was a different time. That was before I learned about nutrition.
That was a different time.
You want to get the pan hot before you put the food on into it. I see.
I can't just eat
Anyway,
the
the
red
movie.
meat out of the out of the cardboard.
I feel like I've already revealed too much about myself. I feel like I'm doxing. We're doxing. Somehow.
Zach's phone number is
No.
Anyway, after they're goofing around and everything, they walk down the alleyway, and they see the man on the other end, the man from before. And he's staring them down, and the crew walks, you know, trying to act casually, act unbothered. And Milk is just like, come on, guys, this is ridiculous. This is still a prank. He's so like not bothered by it at all. He just walks right up to the guy and like flips the fedora off of his head.
This was the moment where I thought, like, okay, this is
like a Murder Man movie.
point of no return. Like, this is the mistake he made. That's gonna launch everything into
motion.
It's like chaos. Yeah.
I thought that too. Like, you buy it, like, oh, this is a Murder Man movie. Okay, like let's see how this unfolds, and then it's so much better than that. After that, we cut to another black screen with text that reads, March 14th, the day he died. The gas is going. We're stepping on it right now. We're not, we're cruising. We're still cruising. The gas, there's a certain point where we go full throttle. You know, we're at a steady cruise right now, I'd say. But it's getting there. We can feel it ramping up. Seven rushes to Milk's room where he's sleeping. It's 6:46 in the morning. You can see that in the on the video. And he tells Milk that someone is downstairs. In the next scene, the camera kind of peeks around the corner, and it reveals a man sitting on the couch, and eerie music is playing in the background. There is this scene is, it's the right time of the day to do this kind of scene. Now, obviously, you did the scene at night, you did the scene in the alleyway. I love the, all right, here's a different, the time of the day has a strong effect on certain scares. The sunrise light coming through the windows here gives this scene a unique visual look for what we're seeing. Like, imagine you woke up in the morning and saw just a guy sitting on your couch. That's what this is. It's very unnerving. It's as unnerving as the last unnerving scene they just did with this guy. It's very effective. Milk is insisting they don't call the cops. That comes up a lot, actually. Milk is insisting they don't call the cops, and he tells Seven that he's probably angry about what Milk did last night, and Seven's like, "What the fuck did you do?" It's Seven, but Seven insists that he's not pulling another prank on him. When they go back downstairs, man's missing. Where is he? They start looking around the apartment, which doesn't seem that big, but they actually get a lot out of this because there's this scene where like they're in front of like a door to the bathroom, like open it, and he's not in there. Throughout this, Seven is presenting himself like he's just filming another YouTube video, and that kind of annoys Milk a bit. He has they're both scared, but Seven has like this YouTube persona still on display. So Seven heads upstairs again, and as he's heading upstairs, the man just walks through one room to the next, through the hallway.
Yeah, like he's in like a daze or something.
Yeah, and they cut to him sitting in a chair in the bedroom, and he starts just kind of spouting. Not like there is a this scene here. What he says here threw me off so much. Did it throw you off? Where he's like, "There's a girl in my head, and I was never supposed to be a man. Religion can't hurt it." Like when he's saying all that stuff, I thought like, "Oh, what did you think when he first said this?" I thought the movie was heading in a certain direction after this.
Yeah, I thought the movie was going to take like a supernatural turn or something from here. Like I was like, okay, we're going into. I didn't know quite where it was gonna go, but
Yeah. I didn't think anything supernatural was gonna happen.
Well, what he's talking about isn't. What he's talking about is like person who is having a mental breakdown, but also believes that they are trans.
Yeah, that's what was going through my head, and that
But
like
also they're super old now, so and that's like
they
also
never got
driving
to.
them crazy.
That was so interesting to me. I thought that the film was going in that direction. Like, what if like that was the pitch? Like, what if there was a really old guy that like that's going through this? And that
But then
really
I was like, how is that going to interact with the two main Prank Bro characters? Like,
yeah, but like
what is that dynamic going to be?
yeah, but that's how good of a job the film was doing so far in setting everything up. Where I think the film is going to be certain things at some point and then just like turn out to be something better. Like it's like, oh, here's this creepy guy, and it's like actually the creepy guy is this. It might be going through this hardship and they have to deal with it. What ends up, it's so much better. It's so much better. He then immediately after like puts a gun under his chin and Milk stops him. There's a lot of guns in this movie. There might just be one gun, actually.
I think it's this. There's one gun.
There's one gun. Well, there's also a gun. There's a second gun that shows up later. But there's a lot of gun stuff in this movie. Like we just saw the scene of the guy showing off how good the blanks are by shooting himself in the head. And now this guy, puts a gun under his chin and tries to kill himself or pretend to kill himself. And Milk stops him. And there is more gun stuff later. So after that, the man just starts freaking out. He's breaking down. And we immediately cut after this to Seven. He was recording himself. He's still in YouTuber mode. He's still in YouTuber mode. He's congratulating himself for getting everything on video.
Okay, this is definitely the moment of like, not that it actually affects anything literally, but this is the moment where looking at it again, I'm like, this is where they damn themselves. Like this is where Seven karmically sets himself up. Like
I don't know if there's like anything
the most
anyone
atrocious thing ever.
It is very like once you see like
a guy blowing his brains out on camera.
I know
I'm gonna be rich.
It is very it is very like Logan Paul-esque. It is very
exactly.
like reminiscent of like what a YouTuber would a big YouTuber
actually,
would
now you
like
say
be
that.
proud of themselves for doing.
Logan Paul literally did that, didn't he?
He literally did that. It's so,
Be a
yeah,
shame
it's
if
hard to
something
say, like,
this movie happened to him, huh?
it's fun. It's hard to say because, like, yes, I guess you can look at it as like a karmatic thing, but I don't think anyone deserves anything in this film. Like, especially like what ends up
Oh,
happening
no,
to
no.
them, because it is
I
like a
don't
certain
mean, like,
force that is, kind of pulling the strings over all of this that like is malicious.
I don't mean they deserve it. I just mean that, like,
No, there is a thread, like a karmatic.
often there's usually, like, yeah,
It's a
yeah, the thing
literary
you
thread.
earn.
Yeah, it's funny because like you might like hate Seven at the start of this film, and like totally understandable. The ways that they do, like each character does a kind of 180 in how they behave, is so enthralling to me, and it makes this performance like extra. It adds so much depth to this performance, because you start looking at YouTubers like they're real people, and that's really hard to do. But the next scene here, I mean, we're in the middle of this scene, but Milk then appears like in this stairwell. Yeah, Milk is, he's down the steps and he tells Seven to turn off the camera. Of course, he just lies again. He pretends that the camera's not recording. Milk says he calmed the man down. Not only did he calm him down, but they're having dinner with him. I was cracking up after he said that. The delivery of that line is so funny. Where he's like, I calmed it down and we'll be over at his apartment for dinner. Like, like it is a very funny delivery. So we cut to a little bit later, and Milk is promising to Seven that he's just, he talked him down, and the guy's just lonely. And for a bit in this movie, Milk has been coming off as kind of the normal one. And because, Seven's the one always filming. He's kind of the one that seems like he's the annoying influencer, but he's also like, he seems to be the one that is like not part of a species, for what he's doing. And we touched on that a little bit before. But so Naomi walks in, heads right upstairs. She kind of just like rushes in and goes immediately to the bedroom. Did they all live together? I feel like that was never really clear to me if they all lived together, because I always just saw like two beds. There were like two rooms with beds, so I guess they all lived together. Are they all roommates? I was never sure. But she's lying in bed and she's crying into a pillow, tells the guys that Lara broke up with her. It's a quick scene at the liquor store. This is the first time that this is where Seven mentions that I think his wallet's missing. Immediately cut to the guys outside of the man's door, and he's immediately like, I don't want to be filmed, but the man ends up being okay with it, and he just looks at Milk and says, I hate you, and then lets them in. Not something that I realized on my first time through. He's not acting in this scene. I mean, the character is not acting in this scene. He's actually like upset.
Right. Yeah.
And we'll get to that in a bit, but that's like fresh in my mind. So I was like, oh, he's not acting here.
I didn't think about that. Yeah. But
Yeah.
like, you said you were not going to bring a goddamn.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, we'll get to what happens. It's so good. So they're setting up the dinner table, and Seven starts telling the man about the story about his nickname. It's literally just he's the seventh Steve in his family, so everyone calls him Seven. I love how the nicknames are so simple. It's like, yeah, Milk drinks milk. We call him Milk. Seven, he's the seventh member of Steve and his family, so he's Seven. So the dinner's awkward, and the man starts telling strange, made-up stories that don't make any sense. It's all, I can tell you like what he says, but like it's all a huge misdirect anyway. The two boys then just suddenly pass out after he's done talking, and the man puts them in the back of his car. Seven's passed out, but there's a quick shot of Milk just being awake. And so after this, there's text on the screen that just reads, "The night he died." Push in on the gas a little bit more. Between them that that Seven used for the first prank in the film. Milk throws sand at Milk throws sand at him, the pocket sand, like in that kind of way. But and he commands Seven to shoot him. Seven fires at the man, and he falls to the ground. Milk finally takes the camera and reveals his own prank. It was all a big prank. Seven is shaken but more confused at first, and Milk is very playful and admits to everything being fake. He says the man's an actor. He calls him Greg and tells him he can get up now, but he doesn't get up. Seven remembers he was drugged, and Milk is like, yeah, it was pretty questionable. But however, Seven is just like ecstatic after this. He's like, his mood, he shifts to like excitement, like, oh my God, this is going to go viral. Like, this is insane. Meanwhile, Greg is still on the ground, and it's become obvious he's actually dead. But the boys still think he's acting. Milk checks his pulse, and they both realize he is actually dead. Milk then exclaims that he used Seven's blanks. They start arguing. There's a sudden cut to Milk where he says, this is the best use of like the quick cutting, because they're in the middle of arguing, and we just cut to Milk's point of view now, and he's like, let's see the setup. Like, it's a normal YouTube video. It's such a jarring jump, and it's the first time where we see like this real freakish smile on his face. Oh, what a smile. It is an all-time movie smile, in my opinion.
That scene, I didn't think about it the first time because I was just like watching it, and it just kind of washed over me. But like the fact that there's a camera recording the gun scene at all is, I mean, it's going to be revealed soon, like in a minute that it's a prank. But your first clue is that like there is a camera recording it.
Yeah.
It's maybe the only time the movie like kind of cheats. Because, I mean, you could say they set that up. So maybe that's what's happening.
Yeah, there is like cuts between two different cameras. And you can
Yeah.
no, I mean you can say like Greg set that up.
Right, Greg set it up,
Yeah.
or even Milk with Greg.
Greg
set
and
it
Milk.
up.
Yeah, I mean they're in on this, so it is still
Yeah.
at this point it is still a prank.
But from the first time viewer perspective, if you're thinking that this is really a threat, then it's like, wait, why is the camera like that? Or you're like me and you just don't notice. You stop remembering that it's a found footage movie for a second.
Well, it is always
But,
jarring in found footage movies where there are cuts between two different cameras.
Yeah.
And it's not like a static, like moving shot, or static moving. It is not just like a shot that has like a bounce to it,
No, yeah, like it's just like on a tripod, which they would have had the time to do.
Yeah, I mean they are still setting up a prank, and
Yeah.
and Seven is blindfolded. He doesn't know that there's two cameras filming him.
No. Yeah, oh yeah, that's actually a good point that he is blindfolded.
Yeah.
Probably for that reason.
It is still it is psychotic that Greg is on the ground and Seven is like literally jumping up and down. Like still like ecstatic
Yeah.
about like the prank and how like that's his first thought and not like I shot this guy. And I thought it was
Right,
real
yeah.
for a second, and now I know it's not. But like he's still on the ground. Like, so what's going on? We cut to March 11th, which reads March 11th. We cut to this another black screen that says March 11th, 2 days before the party. So now we're seeing Milk and his setup for his prank. We now see Milk filming himself, and quite notably, it is 3:12 a.m. Every other scene has been like at a reasonable hour, like when people, would be active. This is probably the only scene where it's like, what is he doing?
It's like, what's happening?
He even says he's been up for 3 days trying to come up with a plan. There's these long pauses in between his sentences where he silently just stares into the camera. We have no context for any of this right now. So, like, we're introduced to this, and it is all very bizarre when it starts happening. Because now we're in a tonal shift, and the movie has officially, like, not officially revealed its hand just yet, but we're getting clued in more to what's going on. Did you think that this movie was all like, because, they are pranksters, so you're like, oh, it's all this elaborate prank, but, and everything at the end is going to end up being this prank, right? And it's like, no, this movie's doing something. It's doing something else that's way better, and using that as kind of its jumping off point in order to get you immersed in the found footage horror. I feel like I bought it at first. I was like, I still was in the mindset of like, creepy guy, creepy old man film, but this part is about to completely flip the script. We cut to this after we cut to outside, it's bright sunny day. We see Greg, and he's just this normal guy, and he's talking on the phone. And when Milk approaches him and he asks if he's an actor, and he starts showing Greg all of his prank videos, and he's impressed, and he's asking his brother Frank if he should get involved, and Frank's like, yeah, Frank is like this like buff dude. He's his son. He's this like buff guy, and he exclaims that it's better than sitting on the couch for months. So very quickly, we have humanized, this man that's been, a source for most of the horror in this film so far. Most of the admittedly like very effective horror. But now they're doing something entirely different. And I love that there's this contrast now between the Greg that we know now, kind of coming off as like this struggling actor. He's this struggling artist, versus what Milk is. And Milk is this, we'll find out what Milk is, but what he's coming off of right now is like he's this content hound. And he's like, here's my, you're this struggling actor. Here's my slop videos that I make with my friend. This is a key to, bring you success. You should be a part of it. It is easy to get fooled by. I would definitely get fooled by this.
And he's enticed by it probably because he's been at this at this acting game for so long.
Yeah.
He's living on his son's place. So it's like, oh, okay, I can do some slop, and people will eat the piggies will eat it up. And I'll become famous from it, or I'll get more work somehow.
Yeah, you'll get viral from it, and that'll give you work.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a little bit metatextual thing going on there. But we see more footage of the party that night, and Milk asks Lara if she has an Instagram following. It like every scene between Milk, like there's a reason that they cut to this. Milk asks Lara if she has an Instagram following, and I think that this sets Milk off to Lara, to what he does later on.
Like this is where he
like there's a certain kind of person that he might
chooses her
go after.
Right.
You'll figure out what I'm talking about in a bit. I mean, hopefully you've seen the movie and know what I'm talking about. But we then cut to Milk getting into his car. I have a lot to say about this. Milk is in his car. His camera's set up on the dashboard. We get a date and time. Reads March 13th. It's the night of the party and the day before Greg dies. Milk is just smiling into the camera creepily. And he starts giving his audience an update. He says that he left the party to do something, and he shows the camera Lara's jacket. So, Zach, you mentioned like that was that was like a a very specific scene where Lara gives someone her jacket.
Yeah.
Now it's coming back. Like, okay, why does Milk have her jacket? This is also something that I realized in my second watch. Her name's Lara, Lara. Milk purposefully misnames her. He calls her Laura when he's talking.
Oh,
about
really?
her. Yes.
I didn't notice that. That's so funny.
And we'll see why he does that.
It's like disrespectful.
Yeah, just like blatant disrespect. Like, there's a line being drawn, like the Instagram following, followed by the blatant disrespect for her, that he finds for her. Something's going on here. This actually came to me the first time I watched this movie too. There's a couple scenes where Milk is sitting in his car, filming himself with the camera set on the dashboard, and it reminds me of something very specific. And I see this happening. The footage is frantically cutting around. It seems like he's like re-recording takes where the most complete thoughts were being formed. And Milk smiling into the camera is sometimes spliced between these takes. And this is where he keeps repeating the phrase, "What do you mean you don't like it?" Comes back pretty regularly. I didn't know what he was talking about when he like.
I didn't either.
Yeah, this is the first time we're watching this film, and we're like, okay, Milk is crazy. Yeah, there's something wrong here. Like there's
something, yeah.
Not just even like, oh, there's something a little off about him. Like, no. Everything about the like frantic cutting, the performance he's giving and the smiling, this like him having Lara's jacket, like his delivery of his lines, it is a complete 180 from what we've just seen. Milk then returns to the party. I'm going to get back to what I think the car stuff is soon. I think it's better to talk about that after what I think it's actually trying to be. So Milk returns to the party, and this is where the Never Have I Ever scene starts. So again, like I was talking about before, like things happen in between other things in this film, and it's really well done. The events of the party kind of just play out like normal. Milk is splicing in his reactions of things, and he even says, Seven just made his plans easier, for what he has planned. And it includes things like having the gun and the blood packets and shit like that.
Right, it's all ready to go.
It's like,
now he just
wow,
has to hijack it.
It's like, wow, he did this on his own. How can I take advantage of it? So there's a scene where he tells Link about his plan before, after they got back from 7-Eleven. He was kind of yelling at him, but now we see the full scene here, and Milk is just like, no, this is part of my prank. And we cut back to Milk, and he's in his car again. It's midnight this time. His cadence is so much different from what we've seen at the, him interacting with people at the party. He tells the camera that, he would never hurt his friends, and that counts for something. He starts spouting that he has morals and limits and that he's a good person. And he shows Lara's jacket again. He then calls her. He calls Lara, let her know that he has her jacket and he's with Naomi. He's pretending he's with Naomi. She tells him that she'll come get it tomorrow. And he's like, oh no, but I'm around the corner. I'm on my way, or like we're on our way already. There's actually in between this, like there's a quick. I talked about like him, throwing fits in this film. This is the first one where he's like slamming his, he's throwing a fit, he's slapping, slamming his hands against the wheel. He starts driving and insists that they're around the corner. He can't remember the address, and he's pretending he's talking to Naomi. He's like, oh, where is it again? I'm like, oh yeah, she doesn't remember.
Yeah, you just have to tell me.
Yeah, you're just gonna have to and she's like, all right, I'll text it to you. After this, Milk starts gloating that he's like, I can't believe she bought that.
Is that why he asked about Instagram is so that he would have her number so that
No, I mean she
could
does.
text it to her.
Well, she does text it to him. I feel like he mentioned like how many.
But they just met. Well, they just met that night. That might be the moment where they get each other's numbers.
Oh yeah. Or yeah, like she DMs it to him or something. I was thinking about something different that more has to do with like subtext.
Oh yeah.
Like a certain person that like someone like Milk would go after. Before we get to like what ends up happening, like why Milk is doing all this, you can probably guess who what's going on. But I want to point out something. When I first watched this film and what went through my head, Milk sitting in his car, filming himself, camera on the dashboard, him talking about how good of a person he is, him kind of just blatantly disrespecting this woman he just met. He has no reason to like think anything less of. This whole sequence is framed like incel energy to me.
Oh yeah.
Specifically, this is how Elliot Rogers' videos looked.
Oh yeah, no, you're totally
I
right.
feel like that might have been inspiration. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but that's what I was getting.
Yeah.
It'd
be hard to see it.
Always filmed himself in his car. He was, very egotistical, and we learned that Milk thinks very highly of himself.
Right.
And feels like he's not getting what he's earned. That's kind of what clicked for me.
That's totally there.
Yeah, I feel like there is a little bit of incel. And if you don't know what the Elliot Rogers stuff is, the news, look that up. I don't know if his.
If you don't know what incel is, God bless you.
Yeah, God bless.
Like honestly, just
but we're now
golden.
Like I think we're now like depicting Milk as a certain type of, not just like he's crazy and he's a murderer, but he is a certain type of guy that would murder.
Yes.
A modern type of guy that would murder. And I think the movie is playing with that and putting it into this container of YouTubers and influencers, and it's doing that very purposefully.
Yes. Yeah. So like you're kind of saying like, because I definitely feel that I agree with you that like everybody has that drive to be seen and be recognized and Milk is literally talking to, as far as I know, nobody.
Oh my God. I have a note later on about that specifically. There is a more like, there's more dissection in that later on.
Oh,
but he
yeah.
does have a tendency to like make up people in his head.
Yeah.
And be mad at them.
This is a version of a thing that I do, and I feel like a lot of people do, which is like have the fake argument, almost as like a preemptive thing. Like I don't know if you've ever like paced back and forth and just had a conversation with yourself or whatever. Maybe. I'm not hearing a yes. So now the evidence.
No, I know what you're.
The Milk and the
I know
conversation.
What you're getting at,
I'm not looking good right now.
Is he in the room with us?
I just don't like the way you talk about me sometimes.
God.
Not with your words, but with your mind thoughts.
With your signals.
I can tell you're thinking it. The way your eye moves. No, but yeah, he's making up an audience that doesn't exist. Whereas like when Seven is talking to the camera, he's talking to like his actual
audience. Like he could never have uploaded anything like this in the past before, because like then he'd be revealed.
No, he'd be in prison.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, even like Greg, it's like allured by the siren call of subscribers, of like followers. So it does feel like it's a bit about the popularity contest thing.
What this drives me toward thinking about is people will, there is art in the world that is incredibly valuable. Most people like to consume what is convenient to them.
Oh yeah.
YouTube is like a place to go for. I mean, that, like, there's art on YouTube. There's great art on YouTube, but like most of it's the other thing,
Yeah.
And with YouTube being the platform that it is, and how easy it is, as I said before, to just like, upload shit. There are people that have no like knowing what people, the things, the convenient things that people like to consume. I think that, I'm definitely, not everything I consume is like the highest brow, art that there is. A lot of horror isn't that. Anyway, I'm definitely guilty of consuming slop sometimes. I think we all are.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I think we all are. I think with milk
I
and
watch
cereal.
Long Legs.
I think what milk and cereal might be getting at here, at least to me, is like this platform allows people that otherwise without it have like no right trying to be an entertainer, and makes them an entertainer just by default.
Yeah, It's
and
like
so
everybody by default should be doing the same.
Yeah, it's doing the same thing.
Homogenized task.
But not everyone, and I feel like it then breeds ground for someone like this to show up and be like, I can do it too.
Yeah. It's like
what
he
is
can't
stopping
just be
milk?
a serial killer. He also has to be a vlogger. At the same time, he has to combine the two things, because that's what culture has demanded, is that he do it online.
Exactly.
At the same time.
And that's what I feel like it was getting. Like, and that's why I made the connection to Elliot Rodger, because it's like, well, that guy was uploading videos, like, you know, and just like inspiring them, like, to anyone else, he's crazy. And without a platform like YouTube, like, there's no way anything about his message would ever have gotten out.
But
it breeds ground for people.
At the time he was recording those videos, I don't even think he was thinking like, I don't think he had like this audience, right? I don't think he had like a giant audience where he was known the way he is now.
No.
He was doing the same thing where he was talking, and he was so confident that he was talking
to a lot of people.
Because it's a camera, you can just imagine how many people are behind it. So in his mind, it's like everybody. He was just talking to millions of people. Exactly. And he was alone in a car, and nobody. His initial videos probably were only watched by like. He was a high schooler. Like who watches like high schoolers' videos? Probably like several hundreds of people, but like.
Which is crazy.
He was doing the same thing. More, yeah. And
that's kind of like the point I'm getting at, is like it breeds someone for like milk to possibly exist, and exist in the same manner that a lot of other problematic YouTubers exist in. And it's not as simple as saying like these people could be serial killers. It's not like that. It's not what I'm saying. But I feel like there's a connection here between the art that is out there, and how easy it is for the wrong people to, feel like they have a voice on a platform. And also his behavior in some ways is indecipherable from the normal YouTube prank bro behavior. Like the reason why some of the things he's doing work is because Seven and the others react positively to it. Like they're are they enabling him? Like, in a way, they're enabling him, but they also do equally insane shit up until the point where he. Yeah, they do like
Uh,
we talk about like how they just don't react normally to things.
like they faked a murder.
They faked a
Too.
murder, which yeah, that's crazy. But then like the reaction of the guy almost killing himself, like, oh my god, I almost got that on camera. Like, yeah, that is like
Right,
you
yeah.
are not a member of a species type of behavior.
Right, yeah.
But then that's contrasted with this, which is like real psychosis. But yeah, it's such an interesting contrast. It's such an interesting debate that I feel like is, and it's happening in this movie. There's just this like little horror movie on YouTube that is, I feel like, saying a lot more than what people are, even the people that like really dig this film. I think it's got a lot more on its mind than just being a competently well-made horror film that's for free. To not get serious about it for a second. Oh wait, we have to get serious about it still because the next scene is so fucking morbid.
Oh, yes, yeah.
So at Laura's doorstep.
This is probably my favorite series of scenes in the movie, though.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, I was talking about the gas before. We're speeding down the highway, and the cops are chasing us.
And they won't let us stop.
Yeah, this scene. After this, yeah, I feel like the movie's on a roll. Yeah, so we're on Laura's doorstep. Now he's got me doing it. And Milk convinces her to come to his car. And he says, like, oh yeah, Naomi's in there. She wants to say hi or whatever. But Milk attacks her from behind with chloroform. I remember watching this scene for the first time, and I was like, I was really disturbed. And it gets more disturbing in a bit because just how like obviously the scene that it sets up, like the scene before in his car and like what was going through my head, and then the execution of all of that weighs very heavy.
Because before you don't, this is the moment where you understand how far he's willing to go.
Exactly.
Like, you don't know, like, is he kleptomania? Like,
no, this is
like, what is going on?
This is an actual murderer now.
Yeah.
Because we hard cut to Milk, and this is mid-sentence, and he's showing us an ear in a jar. This is specifically Jessica's ear, and if you remember at the beginning of the film, when Seven was in the car talking to all the rest of the group, he was talking about like, oh yeah, you see this girl named Jessica, and they don't see each other anymore. I wonder what happened to her. This is what happened to her. Her ear is in a jar.
Yeah.
And he also points to other things on his table of murder tchotchkes. He has this beating brick. He shows it off. He's like, yeah, it's my beating brick. There is this like half a second shot of a brain.
Yeah.
That fucked with me. It's not even like gross. It's just like there's a brain sitting on something.
Like, why is it there?
Yeah. It's a quick shot. It's a brain sitting on something. It goes by way too quickly, and it's like, wait a minute, wait. And you can go in the video and pause it, but like within the motion of the film, that's super scary. that is super morbid. We then see Laura waking up, and Milk cruelly. Milk does a lot of cruel stuff in this film, but like tricking her into unlocking her phone with face recognition. It's like, hey, look who texted you, and she looks at the phone
and he texts.
Yeah, he's the one that. Yeah,
up.
so it's revealed that Milk is the one that texted Naomi the breakup message. I noted a part of me wishes this scene went by without music. I feel like because it's like, all right, now we're getting real. Now we're getting real. This is what the movie is.
Yeah, this is what it is.
Yeah, here it is. No more music.
It's funny that he sent out the breakup text because in the scene in the store he says something that is like you would only say if he's so clearly personally insulted by Laura for some reason.
Yeah, like for no reason.
Yeah, as he just says, "Oh, she's asking to get broken up with," or talking about. I guess he says that about not Laura, but he's fully aware of what has happened. So it's like, why is he
Yeah.
making that comment at all?
So I don't know if I mean I don't know if it was just women he killed, because at least his other victims end up being psychological murders, not really like him. I think he personally hand kills women exclusively, and he just has this like
He kills
disdain
one.
for them. Oh yeah,
Yep.
yeah, he kills the guy at the end. Right.
That's more of like a survival thing though, but
Yeah, that's more of like a
doesn't really
desperation
have a
kill.
chance.
Yeah.
I
Um,
feel like we'll probably I can't remember, but there's a scene where you see a list of his victims,
there's
sort of, and
names. Yeah, there's some names. I
maybe
forget.
one of them was male, but
It would hurt my reading, the incel reading, I think.
yeah, it's like I can't have that.
No, I put too much time into that thought.
No, he definitely has incel vibes.
Yeah. Yeah. So Milk just continues to taunt Lara, and he has this mask. And if you've seen the thumbnail for this film, this is what Milk is wearing. He's wearing this like clear mask that has eyebrows on it. It kind of looks like the To the Arc mask from Marble Hornets, but it's completely translucent. And yeah, he puts on this mask, and he keeps repeating, "What do you mean you don't like it?" A few times at her. Is this a line someone says in the movie, and he like clocks it? I've seen this movie a few times now, and I don't know when someone said, "What do you mean you don't like it?" Because I thought like he was like annoyingly like mocking her with this phrase, but he says it a lot.
I feel like it's another thing. My read on it was it's another thing where he's having like a conversation with himself where he like is creating like a straw man. I feel like at some point somebody in the past, or maybe multiple people, offended him in some way
Yeah.
by like he put on the mask or he was whatever. They gave him a reaction that he didn't like. It's stuck in his head. So now he just
What do you
plays
mean
it
you don't
out with
like it?
this.
Like you don't like the mask?
Yeah, like what do you mean you don't like it? What do you mean you don't? So he's just like reacting to this thing that already happened.
It goes back to also
It's like
the childishness. Just like repeating this phrase, it's very like immature, and it goes back to Milk being like this regressed child.
oh yeah, definitely. Um, yeah, but that was kind of my read on it. It's sort of like it's like almost like when you play a debate or an argument that happened previously in your head, and you're kind of like, well, here's what I would have said if I had time to think about it. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
uh,
Like you're awake at like you just like can't go to sleep. You're awake at night. You're like, just like thinking about some bullshit that doesn't matter, and you're like, I should have done that. I should have said this to this
yeah,
person. I should have said this to my
is
boss.
you talking to me? Well, I don't see anybody.
Yeah,
Me?
that
Like
might
this
be
is
it.
his
Yeah,
like.
that's his version of that. That could be it. He then goes on and says, "It's me, but a different version of me." I think this is also really interesting because it is hiding his face in a way, but it's a clear mask. To me that represents like the face that people put on, like
Yeah.
the personas that they take on. It's like they're showing their real face, but it's not the real them behind their face.
Yeah, listen, this guy has other stuff going on.
Yeah.
This guy has problems. Is what's happening.
Yeah, but I feel like it relates to, it's relating to like the stuff I was saying about like YouTube and like the YouTube culture, where it's like no one's
Yeah.
themselves, there's only this mask, even though it's their real face.
There's definitely one more scene that like hits this one thing harder, but he definitely also has like self-loathing
I don't think so. I think
So-
he's in love with himself.
There's a scene where he's playing with a gun that is pretty like.
I will get to that
Why
scene
would you
because
do
there is
this?
something I will say about it. Because he does, yeah. We'll get to that scene in just a sec. Because I have a different read of that scene, and then like, oh my god, just like despairingly, Lara finally speaks and asks Milk if this is a prank.
Ugh.
And Milk is like, no, it's not a prank. Oh my god, his delivery here is unbelievable. It's so good. He's saying, "Oh,
This is like the
no, it's not a prank. Sorry." And he says that life is unfair and she's unlucky.
dude. That scene is so fucked. That it's such a brutal, dark, like just like yeah. Like the scene is unfair. And also, it's like I just couldn't help thinking like, God, this is like the nightmare scenario for anyone. It's just
Oh
like,
god, yeah.
wait, oh, is this a prank? Is this a prank? And it's just like, just somebody who you thought
You trusted.
you could trust is like, yeah, just flipping on you immediately.
Oh my god.
Is horrifying.
Dude, I can't imagine being a fucking woman and talking to anybody. Jesus Christ.
I would never done.
Dude, I would never talk to anybody. I'm already like
Plus-
very mistrusting of people, so it's like if I was a girl, God.
I'd spend 12 hours alone instead of 10.
Those extra
Yeah,
2 hours going toward trying to get calm banned off of COD.
Yeah. I never leave my house. But yeah, this is also, can I say, I meant to say this earlier, but I guess now is probably a good time. But this movie also has like a David Fincher-esque color palette to it.
Yeah.
That's like
In
it's
this little
always
room, yeah.
sickly.
It is sick.
Well, the whole movie, even in their apartment, it's like it's always like green or yellow. Like it's always like
yeah.
the
I see
colors
that.
of like piss and puke. Just like it's so sickly. You know, I feel like usually movies that I watch that use those colors, it's like a David Fincher film that's kind of like you're supposed to kind of feel like the emptiness of these people's lives, or it's like The Matrix, where it's like all of this is fake and they're stuck in this like oppressive world where the air isn't real, so it's all green. It's like it's this like sickly puke green, like everywhere. Like when they're outside in the apartments or in the streets, when they're like,
Their apartment is definitely lit like that. I don't know about like the
like if
exterior
your apartment was
shots.
actually lit like that, you'd kill yourself. Like this is like I would never allow.
Yeah,
my
what if
apartment
instead of like
that.
RGB like gamer lighting, it was that in your
That's
you're watching
like
someone
untenable.
yeah.
Just no way.
Like, dude, how does that not affect your mood?
Like you can see it real strong in the next scene when we get to it with Greg.
Oh, right,
But it's
right.
like, oh my God, this is
Well, that's what I was saying before too about like the sunlight pouring in from the windows. And there's a lot of scenes afterward where the blinds are shut, and that also kind of affects the lighting of these scenes as well. Yeah, so after that, we cut to the next morning, and the same events start to take place. We see, you know, a lot of the events we're familiar with, but you know, at this time we see them from Milk's camera. Milk is seen comforting Greg. This is where he like talked to him about like coming over for dinner, and Greg is just kind of like giddy about like how he's been handling everything, how he's been performing through this whole prank. Greg is a great guy, probably the best guy in the film. We got to Milk taking the blanks out of the gun and replacing them with real bullets. He plays around with the gun. This is what we were getting at before. He plays around with the gun and pretends to shoot himself, but he never fully commits to it. I feel like So the way he's playing with the gun in this scene, you said it's like self-deprecating and like there is like a self-hatred here. I disagree. I feel like he is obsessed with himself and he's like, I could do it, but I'm not gonna, because, you know, I think he is too obsessed with himself. But
I guess that's a good read. It's that last line he says that gets me, where he's like, I'm not gonna do it, and then he takes a pause and he's like, thought about it, and then it cuts.
Yeah.
Where it's like, I believe him when he says that he thought about it, like in the past, like he's thought about it.
I think he thought about it in a way like maybe he has like an urge to kill but couldn't commit to a person to kill just yet.
I think you're right. I think it is, even that is like a narcissist thing.
It is a narcissist thing.
Yeah. Adding on to his narrative.
Exactly.
Like, oh, woe is me. There's actually a sad side to me.
Yes.
I don't like to talk about.
It is. Yeah. And that's so apparent in the way that he later on, just in a bit gaslights Seven. It is complete narcissist behavior. Yeah, and just like the joy he finds in, oh my god, this movie is rich. We then see Milk going through the plans with Greg, but Greg is very uncomfortable with the drugging, and he threatens to quit right then and there. But Mike tells Greg that he'll drug him instead, like Milk will drug Seven instead. He has nothing to do with it. So Greg doesn't have that like guilt, and he reluctantly goes along with it. Jonathan Cripple is really good in this scene.
Yeah.
Because before, he's playing the scary old man, and then he's like, the excited actor getting a new role. And now he's the most humanized, because now he's the most moral. Like, no, I'm not doing this. This is where he says no cameras. And so when I said like he wasn't acting when they were at the door in that first scene, he's not, because he's actually like really upset with Milk in this scene.
Right. He's bringing the camera anyway.
Yeah. So we cut to Milk putting Seven's wallet back in his pants, and he's like just mocking him, like, "Oh, why wouldn't you check your pants?" Like, oh, it's crazy. And even in the next scene, he's like, "It's called gaslighting," like, and I'm doing it. So he was explaining gaslight. It's so funny, him explaining gaslighting. The events start playing out as they do the night that Seven shoots Greg. Except we see the full scene of Seven being drugged now. Milk was never drugged. He's completely conscious throughout this whole thing. And that's why we see him just like that one shot of him in the car, just like being very casual. We see how the rest of the night plays out now, and they discuss how to hide the body. We're now like properly in the present of the film. In this whole scene, Seven's back is turned to the camera. Like he doesn't want to face things, and I feel like that's really well portrayed. And so what they're talking about is they need shovels. Tensions are really high. The performances are especially good here, because this is really the first time that Milk and Seven are like really at each other's throats. It all blows up later, but they get Greg, put him on a tarp, throw him in the trunk. This is where the movie kind of reminded me of that episode of SpongeBob where they kill the health inspector, which is the best SpongeBob episode. I think I've decided.
I vaguely remember that, but
when they're trying to hide the health inspector's body, it is a lot like this scene. It does remind me of this scene. But anyway, we cut to Milk's camera set up on his dashboard like all the other scenes before that are like that, framed in the same way. Seven gets out of the car, and Milk starts they're in the Home Depot parking lot right now, and Milk starts throwing a fit again. this is a moment of levity in this film right now because he's throwing a fit. He's like, oh my God, everything's going wrong. How did I forget the shovels?
Yeah. I'm so stupid.
Yeah, and he even got his delivery of this line. This is where their comedy chops start really popping up because then he starts yelling, I don't want to get arrested in a fucking Home Depot parking lot. And he starts watching a cop who's approaching him. And he's like, oh, what? Now there's this cop coming. It's really funny. And he starts freaking out. He opens the door for the cop, but he's like, no, close the door. And he rolls down the window instead. Milk is trying his best to act normal here. It's a funny thing about this cop. The cop comments that he's in a handicap spot, which Milk starts to apologize for, but the cop wants to write him up anyway. Like, what a fucking... I'm sorry, like, I know that, like, yeah, like, Milk is Milk in this film. Like, I don't feel for this guy at all, but, like, if this was anybody, what a fucking dick for this cop.
Right.
They're just like, you're in a handicap spot, I'm writing you up.
He's still
just
in the
tell
car.
him to move. Yeah, he can drive.
Yeah, I feel like that's actually, he's technically not, maybe I'm wrong, but like I feel like the way it's normally works is you're still in the car, you're not
Like, hey, can you...
parked. You're like standing or something.
Yeah, you're on stand, but still, like, yeah, maybe you shouldn't be in a handicap spot. But like, also it's night. Also, can be interpreted as a genuine mistake. But
Also,
like,
it's a cop.
also
so,
it's a cop. It's like, oh well, I gotta make some kind of quota.
Yeah.
So writes him up anyway. Yeah, what a dick. I hate the cop. He might be the worst person in this movie.
You know what? I'll say it.
I'll say it. It's not Milk. It's this cop. But anyway, Milk sees Seven walking out with his shovels, and he starts freaking out. He's like, yeah, go back. He gestures to Seven to, go back, and he starts to walk back. The cop comes by again, hands him the citation. The scene ends quickly. They bury the body. They don't linger on it. It's just kind of like a what's done is done, and they leave. We get a black screen, and we get text that reads, March 15th, the day they died. And Zach, I don't know if you do this. First off, this movie's like on a roll. It's got an unbelievable amount of gas right now. And then you see it's cooking. And then you see this text screen pop up. There is March 15th, the day they died. And I don't know if you do this when you're at the movies. I do this quite often, where I get really excited about what's happening in the movie, and I start to like guffaw and rub my like hands together, like ooh, I should be doing that.
Yeah.
I
feel like with horror movies especially that does happen to me where I have some reaction like that where I'm like, when I know it's like striking oil.
Absolutely.
It must be what it feels like to strike oil where you're like, oh,
I feel like I might have
there's a
done
rich
this.
vein here. The good stuff.
I feel like I might have done this 5 to 6 times during The Substance.
Oh, I still haven't seen The Substance.
Bro, you will do that. You will
Oscar
guffaw.
nominated The Substance. Yeah.
You will guffaw during that movie.
Can't wait.
Notably, I had that same reaction when I saw Titan, and people started. I was at the NYFF screening of Titan when it premiered. Julia Ducournau was there, and I was witnessing people walking out in droves during that movie. And I'm sitting there watching it, watching people walk out, watching what's happening on screen, being like, oh, like this is an experience. Like almost in a maniacal way.
I'm trying to think of the last big guffaw I had like that. Maybe it was when I saw Love Lies Bleeding, and
That is a
my
guffaw-worthy
partner told me
film.
I should see it. Yeah, and they were like, "Oh, you really like it. You of all people should see this." Like, okay.
What?
And then
You.
it's like, what do you mean? This is like a movie for lesbians, isn't it? And then, little did I know, I guess I shouldn't spoil that movie on a different thing, but
No.
you get to the ending scene, and I was like, oh, okay. This is why you told me it was
Yeah, this gay
and
ass
I
movie ended up
guffawed.
being about me.
Yeah, it was actually about me. But there's the scene where Ed Harris is taken out.
Oh.
Uh, I guffawed.
And so yeah, I felt that way. I'm like, and this is not even me in a theater. This is just me in my like living room watching this happen. Like, I'm
Oh,
by
wait,
myself. Go ahead.
sorry. Watching Andor, I guffawed like fucking 20 times.
I
Okay.
still gotta watch Andor. I
Um,
can't. I feel like I can't look at Star Wars right now.
You will. You'll be fine.
I'll be fine. I know. I gotta get over myself. Oh, I regularly guffaw in my living room to like by myself when I'm watching the Terrifier movies.
Oh my God.
Like
Yeah.
I'm rowdy by myself during those movies.
The bedroom scene from Terrifier 2, I guffawed.
I didn't guffaw during that.
Didn't?
I was actually like, oh my God. Like
I had kind of like a half guffawed, half like it was like a survival tactic guffaw.
yeah.
You know, it was like if I don't guffaw right now, I'm just gonna cry. Yeah.
Yeah. The entire opening of Terrifier 3 I was guffawing. I was like, this is fucking hilarious. I did that when this screen popped up with the day they I was like, oh man. Like this like I feel like this movie was like now we're hitting 100 miles per hour here. So the boys enter their apartment. Milk is just mocking Seven's vlog style in direct contrast to how Seven was like acting at the beginning of the film with his like vlogger persona. Now Milk is doing that with what just happened. He changes Seven's pillow.
Oh.
And
Yeah.
I like he's doing these like very little things to fuck with him. Like he's sleeping on the wrong pillow, that'll like that'll tear at him like something's wrong here. And he starts to go on about how Seven's a bad person, but he's everyone's favorite. This is really where like the making up people in your head starts to come into play.
Yeah.
People do this. I mean, this is the argument tactic on Twitter, making up people in your head and getting
Strawmanning.
mad at that. And that's what Milk is doing here about Seven, like convincing himself that like he's so creative and good and like and morally superior. And he even said like, look how really fucking like this line kind of goes hard where he's like, look how easy it was to turn him into a killer. God, this movie's so tight. Like it really is like it's really so.
Oh yeah,
like
and he's like talking about how the ownership of the channel has. You're hearing about like beef and stuff
Yeah.
that you haven't been totally privy to.
Yeah, where they're talking about like creative differences and things like that like Milk has just like taken completely the wrong way. He's like frustrated with like Seven turning down his ideas, and like this is the effect it has on him. Yeah, so Link enters the apartment now, and Naomi's already been there, and she's like, "Oh, what? There's a prank?" Milk is like, "Oh yeah, this prank was crazy. Like you should talk to Link about it." Link films Seven upstairs, and Seven is just like sitting in a chair and staring at the wall. It's completely disassociating. Link tries to like hype up like how crazy the prank was, but Seven just kind of giving him like just these like single word responses like, "Yep, got like what a like." There's sort of a 180 for Milk, like, those tendencies were there. It's more like the film turned to 180, but like the character of Seven does a complete 180 here. Like he's no longer doing his YouTube persona. He's like totally enwrapped in his guilt. You do feel for him. Like it is very, especially with the gaslighting that like Milk is openly admitting to doing, and how he's being like fucked with throughout the film. Oh my God. Like it's kind of heartbreaking. There's even a little bit later in the scene where this is what I was saying. Like the room right now is just like completely dark. All the blinds are shut, but Seven just kind of turns to Link and gives them like the finger guns. It's like, he's all good, man. Just like any like lasting sense of like his old self coming out there. Like that's it. That was the last of it. We then cut to a little bit later, and Seven is just scolding Milk at like the top of his lungs for telling the others about the prank. Doesn't see anything wrong with it. And Seven tackles Milk to the ground and starts punching him, like just beating the shit out of him. The others come in and grab Seven off of him. Seven just starts breaking down and says that he's quitting the channel. We then see Milk back in his murder dungeon, is what I've called it. We see like where it is at the very end of the film, like what he's actually in, like where this is actually taking place. We see that Lara is still alive, but not for much longer. He hasn't been feeding her or giving her water, but has been keeping her alive. But he quickly puts her out of her misery by he smacks her over the head once with his murder brick.
The beating brick.
Yeah, the beating brick. And then just proceeds to, in full view of the camera, beating her head against the ground repeatedly until she dies.
Yeah, it's so brutal.
It's suffocating almost. It is very brutal. In a way that I did not expect this movie to go. I didn't think it was going to get to this level of violence, but it does, and it's very effective. I don't know about you, and I don't know if you've seen the movie before, but this reminded me what's going on here. This whole like murder dungeon sequence with the scene before and in the scene now reminds me a lot of a movie we will be covering on the podcast called the Poughkeepsie Tapes, that I've definitely mentioned before, and you definitely know about the movie, but this reminds me of the Poughkeepsie Tapes a lot. I want to point out that while Milk is beating Lara's head into the ground, he's doing it in like a YouTuber style way.
Yeah.
And this is either like him mocking Seven or like basking in the absurdity of everything.
Yeah, there's like an aggression to it. Where
There's
like...
totally an aggression to it. After this, we find Seven finds the wallet that's in his pocket. Just like this little plant of him like misremembering things, thinking like it's all Milk like trying to get Seven to think he's going crazy. Milk comes home, filming himself trying to mess with Seven. He yells upstairs that he wants to talk, but he runs away into like the building's parking garage. And Seven calls him like, "What? You like, where done? Do you want to talk?" And he's like, "No, I'm at the store." These little things just, planting these seeds in his head. Later on, Milk and Seven are sitting in their living room where Seven is telling Milk about a text he got from Greg, and he's telling him that it's it's just paranoia. He's really trying to beat the paranoia into him. Milk films Seven basically pacing in his room, and he's just talking to himself, kind of like what you were talking about before, Zach. He keeps saying
kill me.
Oh. He keeps saying that he's sorry to himself. But he keeps saying that he's sorry to himself over and over again. I feel like this is common, like, guilt-ridden, always being sorry, like saying so. Like I do that a lot too. Like always saying sorry to yourself for like no reason. It's a very realistic depiction of like what he's going through. After that, we hear Milk hears the door knocking and he rushes downstairs. And it's Greg's son, Frank, that we met briefly before. They all talk in his apartment, asking if he knew where Greg went. Milk says that he left and didn't know where he was going. Frank even says like, oh yeah, he does that sometimes. Like he just leaves. Seven is clearly acting strange here. Then Milk and Seven are in their apartment contemplating on what they should do. Milk comes up with a genius plan where he says that they should figure out Frank. And he comes up with a plan to text Frank as Greg. And he makes Seven send the text telling him he's in Vegas. To then Frank immediately come knocking at the door again, saying that he tracked the text to the boy's apartment using like Find My Friends or something. Frank is tech savvy because he does this and then he immediately clocks the spy glasses in a little bit. It's like, I know what those are.
Yes, yeah. Like I don't think I would have clocked them.
Exactly. I mean, it is a guy that you know, like you've seen not wearing glasses before and then just like wearing these glasses, but like
that's true.
Yeah, we'll get to that. Because it's funny. Milk comes up with a story that he was there, but promised not to tell Frank where he was going. After Frank leaves, Milk says that Milk just turns to Seven and straight up says, "We have to kill Frank." The domino effect here, there's a little levity to it, I will say.
No, and he's also trying to push Seven. Like he's just trying to fuck him up as much as possible.
He's trying to push that, but like in any other movie, like this thing, like, oh, we have to kill Frank. Like I feel like that's played for laughs. Seven doesn't say anything, but his expression, surprisingly, is just like he knows that that's what they need to do. He knows that they might be out of options at that point. So Milk kind of just rambles into the camera about famous serial killers like Dahmer and Bundy and all that. And he obviously wants to be known as, he wants to be up there with them, but he wants to be known as the most creative. It's a funny thing that a YouTuber would say for, isn't a creative field, but also is like into serial killers being like, oh yeah, I want to be the most artistic one.
Yeah, right. Like I'm going to be known as like the heady one.
Yeah.
He's bringing up people I don't even like.
Yeah, I only mentioned the guy. He mentions a couple other guys. I only mentioned the guys that I knew. He didn't mention Ed Gein, did he?
No, he said Harold Shipman. I was like, who the hell is Harold Shipman?
Yeah, I don't know who the fuck that guy is.
An English doctor in general practice. An estimated 284 victims over a period of roughly 30 years.
Jesus Christ.
That's crazy. Oh, he's Dr. Death.
Oh, that makes sense. Why did I think Dr. Death was Jack Kevorkian?
I don't know. Who's Jack Kevorkian?
He's the assisted suicide guy.
Oh. No, different guy.
Turns out. Different guy.
Whole different guy.
Yeah. So in the next scene, we see Link and Naomi are now filming like their own video, and they're trying to get to the bottom of what's going on. After this, Milk and Seven are discussing how to kill Frank, and they devise a plan. Milk says that they need to lure him to the bathroom because it's like easier to clean up. And notably, Seven is the one that's like sitting in this scene with Milk out of frame. So now it's like being depicted as like Milk is like the Seven is like the childlike figure in this scene, while Milk is the one that's like talking, being dominant over him and talking over him. It's meant to visualize the control that Milk now has over Seven here. And it also mirrors, of course, the scene I was talking about earlier with Seven standing over Milk, with Milk acting like a child. Notably here, the camera's actually hidden, and you see like half a blanket over it too. And this is where they mention that they're going to use the spy glasses for the prank, for the murder. Well, they used the spy glasses for a past prank, but now they're going to use it to murder this guy. So Seven puts on the glasses.
Really just getting the value out.
So Seven puts on the glasses and loads a gun just in case he needs it. And he tries to put it in his pants, but Milk stops him. He's like, "What do you?" He doesn't know what else to do with it. He's like, "Oh, I'll put it. People put in their pants." It is like another moment of levity here. It's a pretty funny scene. It's like, yeah, you see in movies all the time people putting pistols in their pants or
it always bothers me every single time.
Yeah. I love how this is set up. So Milk is watching the live stream of Seven going to Frank's apartment. Remember, he's going to murder him, and Milk is like watching this like he's doing a show. Frank answers the door and immediately clocks Seven for wearing spy glasses. Like he opens the door and immediately is like, "Why are you wearing spy glasses?" Like just knows right away.
2 seconds.
Yeah, it takes like 2 seconds for him to figure it out. Because he does know that they're YouTubers and film everything. And in a way, he thinks Frank is under the impression that he's being pranked right now. He's actually very angry. Like, he doesn't stand for it because he can't find his father, obviously. It's immediately revealed how underthought this was, but, like, the plan just, like, sloppily works out anyway. Like, Seven's just like, "Oh, he's in the bathroom." Like, you don't know?
What?
Yeah, he's in, it's like, "Okay, take me to the bathroom."
Like, he's basically screwed himself. He could have said anywhere.
Anywhere.
And he said the bathroom.
Well, he needs to lure Frank to the bathroom because it's easier to clean up. But, like, that's what he had. Like, "Oh, he's here. He's in the bathroom."
Like, he's got like 2 seconds now to like, okay.
Yeah.
Like,
this is where Milk goes, "Oh, that's my cue." And he gets up and immediately goes to the apartment.
Actually, I want to say it's really funny when the plan starts to kind of fall apart immediately and Frank starts yelling at him.
Yeah.
It kind of takes a while. Like, I'm pretty sure it cuts back to Milk and he's just kind of like looking at the camera again and sitting and just like, huh. Like, he doesn't immediately get up once he starts getting like pushed around by Frank. He's kind of like just watching.
He's like watching, and he's just waiting for him
to
to say bathroom, and he's like, "Oh, there we go."
Yep, there it is. Okay.
Oh, time to grab my knife. Yeah, like. But yeah, so Frank is like standing in the doorway to the bathroom. He's not fully in the bathroom, but Seven's in the bathroom, and Milk is seen entering the apartment. Seven pulls the shower curtain. He's like, "He's in here." And he pulls the shower curtain, and of course no one's in there. And Frank is done. He's like, "I'm calling the cops."
Yeah, you're all going to jail.
Yeah, so but then he's stabbed with a knife in the jugular. Oh, really shockingly realistic stabbing scene.
Yeah.
At least in my opinion. Like the way, like John Simon's acting here of being stabbed acting, really unsettling.
Yeah, no, I agree.
It's really disturbing. In my
gore
opinion.
effect is like just the right amount.
Just the right
like,
amount.
This is so real.
It's more about like him struggling to breathe and him just like looking around. The thing that elevates that is the found footage element to it, because I feel like that adds always adds an element. Yeah.
It obscures the effects a little bit, and it's like, okay, now it just kind of looks like it could be real.
After this, we cut to Naomi knocking on the door of their apartment, and door's unlocked, so they just enter anyway. They go into Milk's bedroom, and under his bed there's a box with like an X on it, and it says "Keeps." And inside are vials of people's blood, and one of them is Lara's. There's a key inside that they take. I feel like if they were going to do this, maybe this is a problem I have with the movie, like one of the few. If I have to say if I have to give it like any mild criticism, maybe they should have introduced this other side, maybe this plot point a little sooner. Because things like things escalate with their investigation very quickly. Like they want to figure out what's going on, then immediately like, oh, what's underneath Milk's bed?
And then they go to
and they go to the
we'll see in a second.
location
But they go
a
to
little
another
bit.
place.
Yeah, where they find where the key is, what the key opens. They hear the
I agree.
door
It
open.
doesn't particularly lead anywhere either.
No,
But that's fine.
yeah, because the movie ends before anything is really done about anything. But they hear the door open, and they run into Naomi and Link run into Milk carrying these garbage bags. This is the final time that a face is blurred, and now it's Milk. Milk's face is out of focus for a little bit in this scene, and it is used to like monstrify him, basically, like fully. Like we are now completely disconnected with him, and his face is blurred, just like we thought. When we were getting the creepy old man stuff in the beginning of the movie. Now we're seeing the reality of it with Milk here. After this, we cut to Milk back in Frank's apartment. He's talking to the camera, and he's like, "Oh, I did not handle myself well there."
It's all the murder parts
Yeah.
on my person.
They're still trying to dispose of Frank's body. Seven is like just sitting in the tub, basically, just disassociating. Like he is not there. He wants Milk to turn him in or kill him, basically. He's like done. Milk just ignores him for a bit, and he starts to clean everything up. We hear him sawing the body off screen for like a second. We then cut to see Link and Naomi driving in the countryside. They find like an abandoned little hut, I guess, on like a hill. It's really hard to tell where exactly they are and what kind of landscape it even is. But there's this little house on a hill that the key opens, and inside is Lara's corpse. Naomi starts to wail a little bit, like that's that type of cry that's like deep in your throat,
like stuck, you can't breathe.
Yeah, really good. We're at the end of this movie, the last thing we see, and I know like me describing this feels rushed. It doesn't feel rushed when you watch the film. It feels like things were always naturally concluding here. And of course, it only is an hour. It is a short feature. It's still a feature, but it is shorter. So, the ending does come quickly here. Milk is there. He's self-congratulating himself in the video. He's proud that he was possibly able to drive Seven to suicide. And he puts on the mask again. And he says he's going to wear it over Seven's body and say, "How's that for being creative?" And he says, "What do you mean you don't like it again?" He turns around to see Seven.
Oh.
Yeah, it clicked with me right there too, as I was reading it.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah,
he's mocking Seven.
Seven and his ideas.
Yeah, and shutting down his ideas. What do you mean you don't like it? He turns around to see Seven aiming a gun at him. He fires. Hear another gunshot soon after. We are meant to believe that we have depicted a murder-suicide, basically. This movie ends like a lot of found footage films do, with the camera on the ground askewed. There is text on the screen that says time of death 7:12 p.m. and someone picks up the camera. And the film ends. Cut to credits. And that's Milk and Cereal. Zach, who picked up the camera?
Who could have picked up the camera? It could be Link.
No,
could be
they're not.
one of the
No.
Well, it could be maybe Milk is alive.
Someone uploaded the video. and
Someone uploaded the video,
they added all of his parts, and they added creepy music under things.
and they said the day they died.
Yep.
Do you think there's actually a definite answer, or do you think it's just amorphous?
No, it's amorphous, and it also doesn't matter that much because I believe it to be the confirmation that this is a film that knows it's a film. And
Right, yeah.
of course someone picks up the camera because it's the film is now like, because at the end of the day, this is something you're watching on YouTube. And I think this is kind of like a confirmation. It's not trying to be real, but it's trying to say something real.
Yes.
In a way, it's
See.
like this film is over. Someone's got to upload the footage.
Right, that's good content.
That's good content.
That's just sitting
exactly.
right there.
Yeah. But the good content is actually not content. It's I feel like it's cements itself as a work. It is more than just good consumable media that you can watch. This movie, this is a YouTube video that wants to be a film, and it is a film. That's why somewhat, it kind of not betrays its premise or betrays what's going on. I feel like this is the movie saying, like, on with it.
Yeah, it's also like, I mean, I like the extra layer of like, oh, there was somebody who's observing all of that, which makes it creepier, but it's almost like,
yeah, like there was someone else
even
behind
all
the
of
camera
this-
all the time. Even the scenes behind where Milk is seen to be alone.
yeah, like even all of this is somebody else's big prank or something like that. Like
That makes sense.
maybe
yeah.
not literally, like it, there's no way
No,
they could have
nothing's-
concocted all that, but
Nothing's
like,
ever literal in these.
But
Yeah.
I mean, it does support the themes of like always seeking the content, always seeking more exposure.
Even when they're
validation.
dead,
Good movie.
Yeah, that's Milk and Cereal. Any final thoughts you want to?
I feel like it's also, I don't remember if I said this, but it's another example of the like comedy to horror pipeline.
Oh,
Just
absolutely.
keeps happening. Because if you look at their other sketches, it's like even those have like cinematic style to them. Like, I mean, are they at least like nothing crazy, but they've settled on like a look that's not just like they color grade in a very specific way. And I feel like just that probably led them to being able to do a horror movie. Their sketches weren't just like basic, set up the digital camera and let the autofocus take care of everything.
Mm-hmm.
They actually have some sort of
Visual.
They have a good sense of like visuals
like
with
an
the
eye.
cut, the edit. Yeah.
I think that's
I feel
very
like that's
prominent
the same
here.
thing that
yeah.
happened with Jordan Peele and Key and Peele and stuff. Is like
Oh yeah.
their sketch show was like, let's imitate 500 different kinds of movies, and then turns out when you do that and you're just making a short film,
Yeah, you got a
making
knack for
multiple
it.
short films, yeah, then you can just make an actual movie. No, very cool. I'm excited to. I know from doing research that there's another Curry Barker horror movie. I think it's a horror movie.
There's another project
come-
that's in the works.
in
Yeah.
the works.
I don't know if it's part of That's a Bad Idea, but
It's not
I'm
a found footage movie. I don't think.
no. But I'm excited for anything that this guy puts out
Oh, definitely.
horror related. Like I feel like, my final thoughts, like out of everything, this movie really speaks to something that I've been talking about on this show for a bit, which is the true DIY spirit of found footage filmmaking. This is such a great example of that because it is a movie that was just made on the cheap. They put it on their already, established YouTube channel. It is free. You can go watch it. It is not just, a piece of content. It is a movie saying stuff and has like real value and merit to it by, being a genre film and by being just a product of the platform that it exists on. Like literally, like talking about it with you makes me like talking through it like makes me like the film even more than I do, you know.
Yeah, same here. Yeah. I appreciate little details more. I feel like I understand bits of it more.
Exactly.
Like what the point of it was. I think I got a better idea of it.
So please, yeah, go out of your way. I mean, it is go watch this. They made it free
so that it can be easy.
Exactly. Go watch this movie yourself. It is more than worth it. Whether you're a horror fan or not, if you love found footage, you got to watch this thing. It is very, very well done.
Yeah.
So that's Milk and Cereal. I want to thank everyone for listening to this episode. And I might be a long one. I'm not sure how long these things are until I cut them down considerably, but thank you for sticking through it. Really appreciate it. Next time, I don't know, Zach, what do you want to do? We gotta play some catch up. We really do. We gotta talk about.
We do.
We gotta do these VHS movies.
Dude, yeah, a new one came out.
I know. We gotta talk about
October.
Beyond. We gotta talk about VHS Beyond. There's some even smaller indie projects that I knew that flew by the wayside for me.
Yeah, I know there were a couple that I clocked.
There was that one.
Also,
there's that one like yoga one. Do you know what I'm talking about?
a yoga horror movie?
Yes. It's called Mind, Body, Spirit. It's on Shudder.
No.
Came out last year.
Body, Spirit. I have not.
It's another movie about an
That
influencer,
sounds sick.
but it's a yoga influencer. I might have us do that next.
That might be cool. Yeah,
Right?
like that. That sounds cool. There's also a new Creep.
Brother, there's an entire Creep TV series we gotta cover at some point. And including there's an entire Creep TV series we got to cover at some point, including the other movies. There's a lot for us to do. We definitely got the work ahead of us.
Live Screamers.
There's also the new Hell House movie that I actually watched it recently, and I really want to talk about it because I dug it so much, and we'll talk about that franchise too. And we'll get to the good ones, guys. We'll talk about Paranormal Activity. We'll talk about Cloverfield, all that stuff in the future. But
there's so much.
There's so much stuff that we can do. So I'm thinking maybe Mind, Body, Spirit next, and then
I like that.
And then we'll tackle the VHS franchise after and cover Beyond. Because that's so fun.
Talk about Outlast.
Oh, we'll get to Outlast. If you guys want to hear the Outlast episode sooner, let me know, and maybe I can.
We want to hear about a video game instead of a movie.
But the video game is found footage. How do you do that?
But the video game is found footage.
Oh yeah. Zach, what do you got to plug?
I still run an escape room for now called Get the Fork Out Escape Rooms. Rochester, New York. Come check it out. We're blowing up. We have made a lot of improvements. It's really cool. We got new attractions. If you're not in the area and that's completely irrelevant to you, there's a video game that I'm working on called Sun Doesn't Set. That's sort of in a hiatus phase, I believe, but is in the middle of finding a publisher, or at least some combination of finding a publisher and raising its own funds.
Hasn't set on it yet.
The sun hasn't set on it yet. But beyond that, that's about it.
You can find me at Schiffer Audio, Twitter, Instagram. Find Dark Static on Instagram as well. You can also find Dark Static on YouTube. Give us some comments, give us a like, subscribe to that channel. Comment, rate this podcast on wherever you're comment and
wherever you leave those
wherever you do that. Comment and rate this podcast wherever you do that. I have a lot of other work. I have Blackwood, short dark fantasy series I did. That's on YouTube and all and wherever you get your podcasts. The Chain God is still being worked on. I am probably going to end up doing a soft relaunch of it as soon as all the episodes are done. More of that stuff is coming. If you're that's another dark fantasy audio drama that I do. I've been uploading remasters to YouTube of old episodes of a show I used to do called Sonic Dawn. And more stuff might be happening with that show in the future. I have a couple ideas, so be on the lookout for it. But anyway, thank you so much again for listening to Dark Static, and we'll be back next time, hopefully in the recent future. This has been Dark Static, and we'll see you next time.